York allegedly responded to an undercover ad on a known website and arranged to have activity with a female in exchange for $140. Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, and even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Alan, John, Schaefer, Sliwa reconnected on this Monday afternoon.
What's up, brother?
Dude, we spent some extra time together today.
Was a lot. Today was a lot.
We were over at the press conference with the new ownership introduced. Alan calls me, maybe.
What time did I call you?
We spoke at like 9 a.m, but you called me and said, you asked me this question.
Mm-hmm.
I love that you asked me. You said, what are you wearing? I'm like, well, it's like a State Farm ad. I'm like, I mean, I'm dressed appropriately. I'm driving to Petco. Right, I wanted to scare you. I'm like, I'm in a suit, obviously.
Well, here's what I wanted. I wanted to wear just like a nice button up. Brothers, I couldn't breathe.
Well, it's 100 degrees.
I tried.
Yeah.
Like I put on a button up. Like I came in with the idea of just a button up.
Did it like breathe or was it like
I couldn't
thick?
I couldn't breathe.
Okay.
I couldn't personally breathe.
You gotta go
then
polo.
I just went polo.
We're in San Diego. We went polo.
Because for a second there, you know, if you would have told me like, I'm wearing because you told me you wear like silk and velvet suits. That's kind of your thing.
Imagine if I walked in with that. Well, here's what I will say, and we'll get to this press conference and the introduction of Jose E.
Well, we got a lot to get into.
Jones and the Padres who are red hot.
I'd
honestly rather talk about the Padres, and we will. Mm-hmm. But I was surprised you went jeans. Like you've got the introduction. Listen to me. I'm getting all mad. You're introducing a new ownership group. Look how I'm clapping.
Yeah.
In San Diego, and you go jeans.
Don't wear sneakers.
That's a good point.
Don't wear sneakers.
But it was like a stylish look I was going for. I went style.
I know a lot of people when they got there, the first thing they do is like, hey,
got style, man.
Whatever Schaefer does stylistically, we'll follow. We will follow.
Dude, we were there for the entirety of about an hour-long press conference.
Cool. It's cool to be down there. Really cool to be down there.
The Padres remain undefeated all time in press conferences, winning another one here today. What'd you think? I'll be honest with you. And again, it's like, it's talk, but I left impressed by some of the things I heard, and I'm hopeful and optimistic, especially with where the Padres are right now, playing good baseball as well as they take over this organization. But I was hopeful after watching and listening for the last hour, and we'll see what happens from here on out.
Here's the tough part. The tough part is really kind of like, what do I take away from a presser where everyone's going to try to say the right thing?
No doubt.
So I understand that. So we got to do our best to kind of look past that and say, all right, what are some of the substance of what we saw? I thought Jose Feliciano, I thought a couple of things that he said. By the way, kind of a one-line punchline kind of. He had
zingers.
He had a couple good dry humor jokes.
Always after his wife would say something, she'd speak eloquently for 2.5 minutes, and then he would just drop in a line. Like he was waiting for the moment.
No, I told you, I whispered over to you. I'm like, I think this guy's got his set in North Park on Wednesday.
He's performing every Thursday night.
I thought what he said, we do understand this, and I know this comes with the territory. Everybody's going to say, we're here to win. We want to win a World Series.
Of course. They're
going to say it 88 times. And by the way, he did end up saying it, but I thought what he said, he had a moment there in the beginning where he's like, we're going to try to win. Because I can't guarantee you that we're going to win.
He did say that.
And I thought there was some honesty there. And he said that our job will be to give the franchise as many resources as we possibly can.
Right.
Look, I think there's something very unique to when I look at San Diego, I see a wildly multicultural ethnic base that represents San Diego leaking into Tijuana and Baja California, as they said Baja a number of times. It's pretty damn cool that we have an African-American owner, and we have a Latino owner as well.
Right.
Like,
born in Puerto Rico. Yep.
That's pretty damn cool. And like listening to them, I think that that's a beautiful representation of really what our city is. Now, at the end of the day, what everybody's going to look at is, do you have the best interest of the city of San Diego? Do you have the best interest of the fans? Do you have the best interest of the community? Are you trying to build off of what Peter Seidler started and hopefully you can finish, which is a World Series? That stuff is very, very difficult to sit here today and try to see how that maps out, other than seeing their actions over years. And by the way, they've even said, we are action people. We're not words people. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, that's well said. And by the way, you did feel Peter's legacy hang over that media event. If you watched or listened, there was a good amount of time spent on Peter Seidler. I think Jose E. Feliciano even started there. I'm left thinking the more time passes post Peter Seidler, that he could one day, by the way, I have a statue outside of that ballpark. I really do feel that way.
Seidler?
Yeah, the way that he is spoken about. I have felt that honestly since his passing.
Yeah,
truthfully.
I don't question that for a second.
Yeah,
like I almost maybe be a little surprised if it wasn't. But maybe there's a time and place.
No, I agree. I'm just thinking in general.
No,
I'm not saying
with
tomorrow.
You. I'm with you.
The more I listen to that, I'm like, oh wow, his impact on the future of the organization, not just the past, feels profound. Let's hear from Jose Feliciano. Because if you haven't heard what he had to say, he was aspirational in terms of what he wanted to accomplish. I was ready to pick up a bat after listening to this a little bit. This was Jose E. Feliciano within the last 2 hours.
Hopefully we look back and we'll see that, kind of we even deepen the tie with the community. We have become engaged and part of that community, right? Kind of, and again, Kwanza said it, we are part of that and that's much broader, honestly, than sports or baseball. But listen, I'm a lifelong baseball fan. I won't tell you which team I used to root for, but right now I root for the Padres, and we need to win the World Series. It's that simple. That's what we're going to do.
Plain and simple. He used the word simple. And by the way,
I wish it was only that simple.
He will be judged, but that's your point. They can do whatever they want with this community. You made the great point. They can make inroads in different charitable efforts. He will be solely judged, and so will she, based on their ability to do something no one has previously done, or at least attempt to do what nobody's previously done. That's what they're going to be judged by.
Yeah, listen, I think in San Diego, it's even more magnified. Never won a championship.
Mm-hmm.
In San Diego, it's only more magnified. You're the only game in town when it comes to the top 4 major sports. So everybody's kind of looking at, there are a lot of other cities out there that can say, all right, if the Chiefs don't win, we got the Royals. If the Royals don't win, we don't have that. So I think there's a little bit here of so much, I think pressure will be on that ownership group, which is okay. Like, you want that pressure because that pressure is expectation. You think Peter Seidler was shying away from any of the expectations? Peter Seidler was actually creating expectations that we never really had. Like, we could say it, but he was actually, I really want to accomplish for the city of San Diego. And there were a couple of times they mentioned, obviously the way they mentioned, I think it was Kwanza Jones who said something to the fact that I think they both had referenced Peter Seidler, that one of his kind of mantras was make the impossible possible. Believe that it can actually get done. And, obviously they mentioned it a couple of times. All
right. So that was Jose E. Feliciano we heard from. Kwanza Jones, maybe you heard this, maybe you didn't. She did steal the show. Yep. I would say she probably, there's nothing wrong with this. I mean, they're husband and wife, so who knows what the dynamic is like. She probably spoke 2/3 of the time, if not more, and I think that's completely reasonable. We were there. She also, this speaks to her vibe or personality. Take a listen to this.
We're going to win. We're going to win it all. We hope it's sooner rather than later.
Kwanza Jones this afternoon. She was very personable. My best description of her was her personality. Even after the press conference, Alan,
she told a cool story.
She was speaking with media members with the microphones not even on about their interest in the Padres and her husband, hitting a fastball off like a TrackMan or whatever, some type of hitting machine in the Peoria Sports Complex. She was very personable.
She was bubbly. She was excited. You could tell she's, I think for her, there's probably a personal achievement for both of them. Look where they got to. they said a lot of their life they've been maybe the underdogs, or you didn't think people they wouldn't look at them, they'd look at others, and they just kind of their entire life, even the bidding process where maybe a lot of people weren't sure if they're going to be the final bidders, and they ended up being the final bidders, and they ended up winning. She gave off this persona of somebody who's wildly excited to be a part of a sports franchise and in the city of San Diego. And again, this is what pressers are. This is what an introductory press conference is. The next time we're probably going to hear from Jose E. Feliciano or Kwanza Jones might be a major firing. It might be a shakeup in the front office. Maybe there's other times we hear from them.
Post-lockout, yeah.
Post-lockout. It could be the introduction of a player. It could be the firing of a manager. Like, the next time we hear from them, it's not going to be all, roses and the blue skies and everything else. I think this is just how it comes anytime you're doing an introductory press conference.
It's an interesting time. Tatis said this yesterday when he was asked about the new ownership post-game. He has this massive game, right? He's in the midst of a complete tear. He's played like an MVP for over a month.
Is he playing right now?
Yeah, he's on the Padres.
Wow.
Yeah, you thought he was on the other team?
Wow.
He's on the Padres, which is incredible. What an acquisition they just made. But he said this yesterday. He said, what a time to be buying the Padres. Like, you're buying high. First of all, the valuation is $3.9 billion. It's the biggest in baseball history, we know. And secondly, they're playing really well. Like, they're going to be tied to the success or failure even of this team. They're going to have very little to do with what happens over the next 45 days, 60 days.
That's a good point.
Very little. And they are tied to the success or failure, maybe fairly or unfairly. Like, they may bet this team could go on a run and they're going to get some credit for it. This team might bow out in 2 games. They might be like, oh my gosh, this ownership group.
I think the bigger picture is, they are buying at the high. You've made it to the postseason 4 of the last 6, a chance to go to the postseason 3 years in a row. And frankly, they deserve, just being frank here, they get no credit to this year. Like this, they have nothing to do with this year, right?
Yeah, I agree.
But hypothetically, if they did make the postseason again, that's 3 years in a row. Basically, what I'm trying to say is the most successful run the Padres have ever had
is under Jose Feliciano.
Is when they're taken over.
Right.
Now you could say, well, no, I trade that all in for making a World Series in 98 and 84. I get that, but I'm talking about like there's actually a sustained period of success that has not been part of the Padres history.
What'd you guys think of the introductory press conference? Hit us up on the talkback mic by opening the iHeartRadio app. It's free. Search for San Diego Sports 760 and click the red talkback mic. Let us know what you thought. By doing that, you're entered to win a 4-pack of tickets to see the San Diego Wave coming up on August 28th at Snapdragon Stadium. So hit us up on the talkback mic. We'll play some of those talkbacks. More reaction to the press conference, plus the Padres are scorching hot, just like it is outside. Kevin Acee at 5 p.m. will join the show. Annie Halbern will also join us coming up at 4:30. Just getting started here on Schaefer and Slee with San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, with the iHeartRadio app, you could stream us wherever you are 24 hours a day. Just search for San Diego Sports 760 to stream us live all day, every day. You can leave your comments for us using that talkback microphone. Tell us what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want us to talk about. Make us a preset so we pop up each time you open up that app. San Diego Sports 760, always live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, you can hit us up on that app again for a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to see the San Diego Wave coming up on August 28th. So we'll have our attention, obviously, on what played out this afternoon. But what about what's playing out on field, Alan? Kevin Acee will join us at 5, Andy Halpern at 4:30. Remember, I said it. I'll take the fall here because it's a good fall to take. I said you can't close like you closed in 2024. You're not going 43-19. You can't use that as your, we'll just turn it on late. We'll figure it out. Guess what? They're playing at a better clip. They're 21-7 in their last 28 games. They have the best record in the sport over the last 28, and they sweep through Minnesota, and they're as hot as anyone. They honestly are as hot as anyone right now in the sport.
What all the different topics that you can get into, all
Sure.
the different, and we'll go through the 21-7 record of everything. What stands out to you the most?
Well, can we do a 3-2-1 then say one word? Are you not ready for a word?
I have one, but I think it's both going to be the same. But that's okay.
What I'm going to say, right?
Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Tatis.
I mean,
Okay.
Tatis is like the sport. He's like, Tatis is back to Tatis. Like, put him up on a pedestal, right?
Okay. So what do I do with this? Because their starting pitching is real starting pitching again.
And very good.
Like it's real starting.
Very good.
Like I'm watching today, or Robbie Ray goes tonight, and I'm like, you need a freaking good start.
right.
Because I'm watching Walker Buehler.
Yeah, he's been great.
Be phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm watching Randy Vasquez get opportunities.
He's been great.
Take advantage of those opportunities. I'm watching Casey Mize, other than trying to get to the dugout without churning an ankle. That's a whole different conversation. We'll come back to that.
Sounds like it'll be okay.
Michael King as well. But I'm watching all these starters, and it's like Robbie Ray's the one I'm looking at. It's like, we freaking traded what for? You need to step up.
But that's okay.
But that's the conversation of where we're going to. That's a good conversation for the starting rotation. You're probably right. You can't really say anything other than Tatis first. Of everything that's gone on in this 21-7 run, you're probably right that you probably have to start with Tatis before you mention anything else.
Here's the thing. I could give you all the numbers. People saw the numbers, and they speak for themselves. The numbers are gaudy. Most home runs, for example, in the sport since the All-Star break. But for a moment—
Would you say 12?
12. But for a moment, forget about the numbers and watch the player with your own two eyes and see what I'm seeing. He's having fun. He's confident. He's mechanically sound. He impacts games in multiple ways, in the field and at the plate. When you take Fernando Tatis Jr. and all that talent and you give him confidence and the necessary mechanics to do what he's done. Again, you give me the necessary mechanics to do whatever, I'm not going to be Tatis. None of these players in the big leagues by and large are. But you put it together for Tatis and then allow his talent to shine through. And like, if he did what he's done right now for the first 50 games of the year when he had no home runs and did nothing, but if this is just who he was, then he's PCA. He's Shohei Ohtani offensively this year. That's what the numbers would suggest. That's how good he's been over the last basically half a year.
Yeah, I think for me, it's like you can go back to people going out of their way to be like, hey, did you see Tatis last night? Which is what it was for Tatis, which a big portion of his career earlier on. I think it's the fact that you can have something positive to say about Tatis. Sure. It could be, by the way, I know we're getting caught up in these 450-foot home run blasts and everything else. I don't even need a home run. How about yesterday, that two-run single, double, whatever it was, to put the Padres up to kind of end the game against the Twins yesterday. And then he follows it up after Jackson Merrill. Tatis gets another solo. It's not even just the bombs. It's every single aspect of his game. It could be in right field, just some of the incredible plays that he's having. Of course, we know a week ago what he did in New York, and part of that was mentioned a little bit earlier in the presser today, but that literally went down as one of the more iconic games you're going to watch from an individual in a game. Tatis, I think, can I say Tatis is back? Like, can I say Tatis? When I say Tatis is back, what version do you go to?
First 3 years.
Yeah.
The numbers suggest it. By the way, this is his last 74 games. So, like, just double these numbers for me.
Okay.
305. So, 305 hitter, right?
So, double those numbers. So
double
he's
305. He's 6'10.
He's batting
Isn't that amazing?
6'10.
Isn't that incredible?
That's
6'10 batting average. This would be one of the better ones out there.
I mean, just
Top
over
5.
600.
Just over. No, 305. 17 homers in 74 games. Let's just say 35 home runs. And 50 ribbies as a leadoff guy. So even forget about that, but 100 RBIs. He's had 15 steals. So 30 steals. If he had a 35 homer, hit 305, 100 RBI, 30 plus steal season.
You're the most valuable player in the National League.
Top 2. I mean, that's how good of a stretch. And it's not anymore, it's been a good 28 games. It has 74 games. That's a long time.
Well, here's a good thing. And I think this is the only thing that you really got to pay attention to more than anything else. Just pay attention to where we are in the season, where his momentum's going, that his swagger is back, because we're about a week away from getting into September, which will be the final month, which is every single thing we could be talking about, the 21-7, how good is Tatis, how good is the pitching. You know how many games they're up in the wild card?
2.
Which means everything that they've done up to this part, you almost kind of think, I mean, yesterday was so disappointing to see Arizona. I think they were down 3-0. They come back and win that game. It feels like it should be a bigger cushion, but at least the squad is playing the way they are.
I think that's a good segue to, like, are they safe with the way they're playing, where they're winning 75% of the time over the last 28 games? Are we thinking more about being in, or are we thinking more about what seed could they potentially be? We'll discuss it on the other side. Plus, Annie Halpern at 4:30, Kevin Acee at 5 p.m. Your talk backs as well. If you want those San Diego Wave tickets, hit us up on the free iHeartRadio app here on Schaefer and Sliwa.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. Padres and Pirates, game 1 is getting set down at Petco Park. It's going to be Braxton Ashcraft going for the Pittsburgh and Robbie Ray going for San Diego. First pitch tonight is at 6:40. We had an NFL trade earlier today. New England is sending wide receiver Kayshon Boutte to the Texans. The Houston is sending safety Jalen Reed and a 2028 7th round pick to New England in exchange for Boutte. One other sort of NFL note, 49ers owner Jed York has been arrested on suspicion of engaging in prostitution. York pleaded no contest to a pair of misdemeanor charges after being arrested in Ohio. He allegedly responded to an undercover ad on a known website and arranged to have activity with a female in exchange for $140. Running business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
Alan, the Padres have made a move with their major league roster within the last few minutes. Brent, put this in your update 2 minutes ago. The Padres have selected outfielder Dustin Harris from AAA El Paso and optioned infielder Sung-Moon Song to AAA. To make room on the roster, they transferred Lucas Giolito to the 60-day IL. We won't see him again. Giolito. So you're like, who is Dustin Harris? And that's what I asked myself, and I went to Google. So they signed him to a minor league deal in July. He had time earlier this year with both the Astros and the White Sox, brief time. Listen to his numbers right now. And this is where you take things with a grain of salt in AAA El Paso with the elevation and just the PCL. His numbers in AAA this year, this is insane. In 29 games in AAA baseball, he's hitting .350 with a 1,039 OPS. His slugging percentage is .617 in 29 games. Now, I don't know if he's going to be a 1,000 OPS guy here, but here's what they're saying. Sung-Moon Song has played very little and has not hit a lick.
No.
Maybe this guy's just
he's known for his defense.
Another bat. It's like a defensive guy for a guy that can hit a little bit. Their offenses play well, but they're promoting a guy that's got a hot bat.
See what happens.
Right.
See what happens with it. Not anything, obviously not a huge move or anything like that. You surprised by it at all? A little bit. I've been a little surprised.
Sung-Moon Song's desire to be like on a postseason roster, I think the writing was probably on the wall because of some of these players that are still coming back. Yeah. Like, I don't know, the Andahars, Taylors, just the roster crunch that could occur.
I'm with you on that, yeah.
But so I am surprised it would happen maybe before September. Or even before October, if they're fortunate enough to make it.
Yeah.
Now you ended the last segment by saying, despite everything, well, they're 2 games up, and then I'm like, are they safe? They're not safe. So, are you thinking still more about Arizona than you are about, let's say, Philadelphia's won 9 straight? I think the Cubs are just 3-7 in their last 10. Like, look at the Cubs, by the way. I think they're 4 games better. than San Diego.
No, I just saw that.
You're still thinking about the teams behind?
Yes.
Okay.
Arizona. It feels like we should be up more on Arizona.
I agree.
It feels like the way they've played, they should have a 3-4 game cushion. They don't.
I agree.
And all it takes is
1 series,
lose 2 or 3 or whatever the case is, right? And see Arizona. Now Arizona's got Chicago. I want to say Arizona's starting a 3-game set against the Cubs tonight.
Okay.
So
where's the series?
That series is in Monterrey, Mexico. For the rest of the year, they're playing in Monterrey.
Is it in Phoenix?
I think it's in Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in Arizona.
Okay.
So you got kind of a critical, I think, moment here, because if the Cubs, who are struggling, take 2 or 3 from Arizona, you could take 2 or 3 from Pittsburgh, something along those lines, right? You start creating that 3-game, 4-game cushion, because that's not what the Padres have done. Up to this point, it's been basically they were behind. 2 is the highest that they've been up over the stretch. So I'm not looking at anybody other than the Arizona Diamondbacks. I'm still looking behind me. To be honest with you, I'm looking a lot less in front. Now, if you're Philadelphia, you could be looking at the Cubs because there's only a 2-game difference there. I think it's different for the.
So you're saying it's too early for me to change my goal. Remember, my initial goal was
I think that goal is a phenomenal goal. I think it's a little aggressive.
I don't think. Well, so my initial goal was be 4 up with 3 to play.
Yes,
because then you've clinched the playoff spot and you don't have to worry about Arizona. But now the optimistic glass more than half full John is thinking, well, now I'm thinking about seeds other than 6.
Mhm.
And honestly, I'm thinking about seeds other than 5. And I'm thinking about tracking down Chicago.
You know
Now,
what
I know
you
that's
are?
aggressive.
Let me just tell you what you are real quick. Okay.
Okay.
You are that guy that's like, it's like you went for a hike.
I don't go for hikes.
It's
I did the other day when you called me.
Okay, so
Yeah.
technically you do go for
Yeah.
hikes. It's like you're that guy that went for a hike and you finished your water too early, and all you're saying to yourself is, "Man, all I want is just a cup of water. If I could just get a cup of water," and then somebody gives you a cup of water, and you're like, "You know what?
Get a glass.
All I want is a Gatorade. I want a
Yeah.
Gatorade." And then somebody gives you a Gatorade. The moment you get the Gatorade, all I'm looking for is
It's
just
a
a
burrito.
12 pack. I want a 12 pack of whatever it is.
Yeah.
You get
So
greedy.
I'm asking for more.
You get greedy.
But that's what
I feel like you're getting
sports- am I
greedy right now.
Maybe. Listen, Chicago's got a tiebreaker. Philadelphia has a tiebreaker.
I got no issue with you getting greedy. I'm just saying the numbers. I think Chicago's a good team. I think Philly's a good team. The Padres are playing excellent baseball right now. They're not going to win at a 75% clip the rest of the way.
Probably not.
So there is going to be some moments that they blink. I just want to, I'm more concerned with, I want to get into the postseason. And if you're playing your best ball going in and health is in your favor, honestly, I'll take my chances from there, because that doesn't typically jive with the Padres. This happened last year in September. It's like they made all these moves at the trade deadline, and you just assume there was a moment around this time where the Padres had a 1-game lead on the Dodgers in the division.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of September played out. We had no shot at the division. We lose home field to the Cubbies. And the next thing you know, 3 games in, and the Padres season is over. I'm less concerned, I think, about the standings. Not to say it wouldn't be great. I just want to see good baseball played, get some of your players back, and I'll take my chances.
No, you make good points. I think I made the point here maybe within a week. I'm like, sometimes you have to be willing to dive fully in, even if it means you're going to get hurt. Like I'm at the point with this team, as someone that's watching, I'm watching every second of every game and then talking about every second of every game. I'm all in on the team. Now, I'm not saying I'm all in there winning the World Series. I'm saying I'm all in on the team. Therefore, I go where they go. And if that's to heartbreak like 2024 when I thought they were going further, then that's where it's going. But I'm no longer just putting toes in water. I'm fully immersed in water because of the way the Padres are playing. I think they've earned that right.
I agree with you.
It's no longer June. They sucked. I'm like the Sports Center. Jimmy Key, what is he, 45? He sucked. They were bad. I agree. We said it. They no longer are that team based on how they're playing.
And not just how they're playing. They got a real rotation now. Like now
that's a big part of it.
There are guys now that you can depend on. And I do want to talk to you about Casey Mize in a second, but there are guys that you can depend on. There's other players that are stepping up. I don't think we're talking nearly enough about Walker Buehler, nearly enough what that man has put together. And if you know anything about Walker Buehler and you've watched his career, I'm very excited to see, as you get closer to the postseason, what a player like that, by the way, not even just for himself, the type of kind of presence he can have for other pitchers that have not maybe been in that situation before, or they need somebody like Walker Buehler to offer a certain perspective. But again, I think the spot that they're in, the position that they're in, phenomenal. But I think you feel a certain way about them because they also made some additions at the trade deadline that you definitely feel the impact of.
I'm glad you went there because Jose Feliciano used the term AJ Preller pulled a rabbit out of his hat at the trade deadline, as in it was unlikely from Jose Feliciano's chair. It was unlikely to acquire the talent they acquired with the system assets that they had. They took on payroll as well. But it is a big part of the conversation now because even if they were playing this well, Alan, but they didn't have Ray and Mize, we'd be like, you know what, this is great, but are you going to be able to have a rotation in the postseason when you need one?
Yeah.
But now the conversation changed. How? Because AJ Preller made a change. He went out and did this. It's not like Ray and Mize have been absolutely sensational. There's been the highs and lows we've talked about, but you feel a lot better because of what you've seen and what they're capable of.
And a lot less pressure off some of these other guys. All right, so you and I were texting during the
press conference?
Yeah, no.
Sitting next to each other.
No, but we were texting during the Casey Mize situation, right?
Yeah.
On Saturday.
Yeah.
And the way they all played it. By the way, we should talk about how they, this series against the Twins. We haven't gotten any details of it, but obviously there's been a lot to get into today. Where did your mind go when Casey Mize pulled out of the game? And by the way, I didn't see anything. Then I hear them saying that this guy has kind of dealt with some groin issues and stuff like that when he was in Detroit. And when I heard the broadcast say they're like, they got Kyle Hart warming up in the bullpen. Now he was getting tagged. He was gave up a couple of solos.
Yeah.
He gave up 3 solos. Might have been 3 solos, but he ended up giving up 4 runs. But everybody was hitting the ball hard. And I'm like, what the hell's going on with Casey Mize? Then you see Kyle Hart get up. Then you see Niebla come out. Then you see Stammen come out, and then he's gone. This is going to sound funny. I was so relieved when you texted me.
A video of him falling down the steps.
You're like, he turned an ankle.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll take an ankle all day long, as obviously it's not a fracture or anything like that.
Yeah, he's had an interesting year as in he's been very good, but he's been on the IL twice with this adductor injury that had cost him 20 days both times. So I initially thought, listen, it could be worse if it's going to be 20 days. Now I'm hopeful maybe he doesn't miss a start. They've got an off day in there. They could give him an extra day.
Rest him 1 start.
Maybe have him skip 1 turn. And then it's 10 days.
There you go.
And that's what I think is
keep
going
it
to
simple.
happen.
You don't have to do anything because you're right. They got that off day Thursday. Yep. So I think they could go Buehler back on Thursday, keep everybody in order, and then put Casey Mize on the next round.
And there's Joe Musgrove.
And
could he return in there to spell Mize 1 additional day or 2 or turn through the rotation?
It's a no-brainer, to be honest with you. I wouldn't
give him the extra.
I wouldn't use Casey Mize, but my mind went to where everybody else's mind went. Every San Diegan's mind. I even say, I say some stupid things when things are down. I'm like, that's it. They're cursed. I literally said that. I said that to myself. I'm like, you know what? Maybe the freaking franchise is cursed. And listen, the guy rolled an ankle. It is what it is. I don't know if you heard his presser, but he was pretty funny in his presser. He's like, I'm kind of more embarrassed than anything else that it happened.
Did it happen?
But he was light about it. And I don't think anybody, at least from the organization, thought this is something to worry about long term. And John, listen, they got unbelievable momentum right now. Unbelievable momentum right now. And the last thing you want to see is that momentum stops because just a random ankle turn.
Yeah, because every time they've had unbelievable momentum over the last decade, a shoe typically does fall.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to avoid that shoe falling. But before I would say that they're cursed, look at it from the other perspective. They're playing unbelievably.
Yeah, they are.
Most fan bases would take this as their team right now based on how they're playing. So we'll see how it all ends up. But this team is playing really well right now.
I'm gonna give you one quick example here. Down 5-1, 6th inning. Twins got the bases loaded. I'm trying to think who was up. Who's a former Padre they traded for? Bell?
The Twins?
Yeah.
Oh, Josh Bell.
Josh Bell. Yeah. I almost called him Jordan Bell. Is a player in the NBA. Josh Bell comes up, bases loaded, 1 out, down 5-1 in the 6th inning. Mize is out. Shout out to Canning coming in and pitching great and keeping the Padres in it. They looked completely dead. Freaking win the game 7-5.
Yeah. And they've done that a ton, by the way, this year. They really have picked themselves up off the mat a ton this year. All right. Speaking of the Padres, they have a National League Player of the Week, and we'll share that name with you on the other side. Plus, Kevin Acee joins us at 5, Andy Heilbrunn at 4:30 here on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, something big is coming on September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day arrives with massive deals, exclusive deals, and an all-day celebration built for sports fans. The countdown has begun. All roads lead to Game Day.
The DraftKings Sports app is now live in all 50 states. That means California, from Texas to Florida. Every fan is in on the excitement. One app, every sport, all 50 states. DraftKings Game Day is yours. Remember the date, September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day is the kickoff of a new season, a new era, and the biggest day in sports history. Get ready to celebrate. New DraftKings customers sign up with the code SD760. Spend $5 to get $200 in rewards within 21 days. That's code SD760.
In partnership with DraftKings, the Crown is Yours event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click-to-claim issued in non-withdrawable predictions dollars that expire in 1 year. Terms, dkng.co/predictions promo. Nationwide based on sportsbook predictions and free-to-play sports contest availability. Varies by state.
All right, SDFC is back home at Snapdragon Stadium on Saturday night when they take on the LA Galaxy. Our coverage with Adrian and Darren begins at 7 p.m. on your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760.
In a shocking twist, Alan.
Yes.
Would you believe who the National League Player of the Week is? I mean, it's hard to imagine.
I'm going to give me three guesses.
I'll give you three guesses, all right?
I'm going to go Fermin.
No.
Fermin is not.
That's a good guess because he plays baseball.
I'm going to go, okay, I got it. Cronenworth.
Yeah. No, he had a big moment in the comeback against the
Jake.
Twins. It's not Jake. You have one more guess. You think it's the new guy, Dustin Harris, who got called up?
His numbers were so good they gave him the award, even though he's not even in the majors yet.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
They're like, this guy. Tatis just, that was like the most.
Dude, can you have a better week than this?
No.
Listen to this.
Well, okay, what is?
Well, he had the greatest catch in like modern history.
Brother, he had one of the coolest games I've ever watched.
Yeah.
And that highlight is going to be around for a while.
Correct.
I told you, it's not even the catch. To me, what I liked more than the catch in New York,
the reaction and everything.
the hat all over the place, the reaction, everything else. Yeah.
Listen to his week. So he has the New York game against the Mets with the catch and everything else he did in that game, including homer twice.
2 homers.
And then what did he do yesterday?
By the way, the 2 losses to the Mets, he was like the only one contributing on offense.
And then yesterday, homers twice.
2 homers.
So he goes 12 for 25 for the week with 4 home runs, the best defensive play they've had this year, and 11 RBIs in a week's worth of games. Remember, they had an off day in there as well. Yeah. So he is your NL player of the week. And I'm telling you, I think most people agree. He is back. Now, I don't know if he's going to continue to be this player, but there are reasons to believe that he can continue to be this player
All right.
to finish out the year.
For as long as you've been in SD,
Yep.
has he had this
Yes.
you said like the 70 game stretch,
He's had him.
but within the last 3 years?
2024 September, not 70 game stretch.
Okay.
2024 September, he was out of his mind.
He was great in the
NBA
playoffs,
Jam.
too.
He was NBA Jam. He's on fire. We could look it up. But it's been with less regularity than we saw in the first 3 years. And it hasn't been the extended period of time like it's been right now.
Yeah, you kept saying, when he was going through his struggles and everyone was, all over him. Shout out to him for figuring out whatever the hell he figured out.
doubt.
By the way, what did he figure out? Have you seen this?
It's his stance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like, it's just
Baseball.
the freaking stance.
But think about the little things, how big they are.
Well, and I think there's also right now, there's this mental, like, nothing can get by me, and he's doing whatever he's doing. But I remember in the beginning of the season, you're like, I don't want an 81 game stretch of like Tatis where he's great, and then the other 81 that he's not. Like, what you were trying to say is, I want 162 game Fernando Tatis Jr. He's not going to give you that.
But I'll take that.
But he's giving you a real stretch. A real stretch.
Like, don't you tell me I'm wrong, because you've seen him in the postseason, to your point, be so good. Like nobody's going to want to face this Fernando Tatis Jr. in the postseason because he's done it before. Like, he will rise to that occasion. He is fully capable of rising to that occasion.
Does it help at all? Like, and I'm looking at this more from just a perspective of the Padres offense. The biggest thing I think as well is you really do actually have genuinely a nice balance of your offense.
That helps a ton.
And I think there are less, you almost kind of got to face Tatis in some situations. There have been other players that have stepped up. I'm not going to listen. Their win percentage right now over this stretch of, it's absurd. I mean, obviously 28 games, that's not going to continue. But I think that the true question today is that I think you could have a legitimate conversation. If they get into the playoffs, and I know, right, at this point, it's like it would be devastating if they didn't get in the postseason. But if you get in the playoffs, they have the capability, I think, of getting hot and making some real noise. Where I think even in the past when we were talking about them, there was like, well, if enough teams lose around them, maybe they'll back their way in. They're going to get their asses kicked when they get in, and they're kind of starting to give a little bit of a different feel now than I think it's ever been. They're back to 11 games over 500.
I know.
The highest
of all year. You know what I've realized? I think I might have said this last night on YouTube, and it's further like entrenched in my mind right now, is that in today's baseball where you have the 6 teams in each league, it's like you think you know something about a team, but you actually have to let it play out over 162, because in every year, basically since the Nationals won the World Series, there's a quote unquote like bad team that ends up in the postseason that their fan base has written off.
What was it last year? Who was in the AL? Was it Detroit?
Well, there were the Tigers. There was 2024. The pitching chaos Tigers of 2024 had a 0.2% chance of making the postseason in August.
No. I think it was it that? Didn't the Tigers last year have like a 10-11 game lead in the division, and it collapsed for them?
Was that Cleveland or Detroit?
It was Detroit that I thought had the
they
division
lost it, but they
lead.
got it back, right?
And then I don't even know if Cleveland ended up winning the division, but then they faced each other in the playoffs and Detroit won.
Yeah, but that's like you need to see it over 162, and it's a long year, and you can make it with 88 wins, and then with 88 wins, you can win the World Series. Look at the Texas Rangers, or the Atlanta Braves, or the Washington Nationals. There's so many examples.
They looked so damn dead. I'm talking about the Padres. They looked so dead, and I don't know if it was, if it is the deadline that was the difference, but it started before the deadline.
True.
They started playing games where it was like every single game was a must win, and that got them to the deadline.
Yeah.
It was Detroit. They blew a 15.5 game lead
15.
Starting on July 8th.
But then they ended up winning the division, did they not?
No, Cleveland
won.
But Detroit was in.
But Detroit played them in the playoffs and beat them.
15.5 games. So whatever you think you know about your team, you have to let it play out. Believe it or not.
I thought I knew a lot about the Padres a month and a half ago, and that wasn't the case.
And here we are now. All right, we're going to get to the wrap. On the other side, we have this 4-pack of tickets to see the San Diego Wave coming up on August 28th, which is this weekend. That's Friday night at Snapdragon Stadium. We have a 4-pack of tickets. If you want to win them, hit us up on the talkback mic. Let us know what you thought of the introductory press conference for the new Padres owners. What'd you think? Just open up the iHeartRadio app, search for San Diego Sports 760, click the red talkback mic for your chance to win that 4-pack of tickets to see the Wave. Annie Halpern at 4:30, Kevin Acee at 5. The wrap is next on Schaefer and Sliwa.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. The Padres and Pirates are getting set for game 1 of their series tonight down at Petco Park. It's going to be Braxton Ashcraft going for Pittsburgh and Robbie Ray going for the Friars. First pitch tonight is at 6:40. The Patriots and the Texans made a trade today. New England is sending wide receiver Kayshon Boutte to the Texans. Houston is sending back safety Jalen Reed and a 2028 7th-round pick. One other NFL note, 49ers owner Jed York was arrested on suspicion of engaging in prostitution. York pleaded no contest to a pair of misdemeanor charges after being arrested in Ohio. York allegedly responded to an undercover ad on a known website and arranged to have activity with a female in exchange for $140. Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio today more than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
All right, hour 2 here, Schaefer and Sliwa. Busy hour. Annie Halpern, Alan will join us in 30 minutes. We saw Annie today.
Yeah.
Down at Petco Park. You were just talking and kissing babies. I don't know. Is that weird? You weren't literally kissing babies, but you were talking to people.
It's been a little bit. It's been a little bit since I've been in that setting. You know, some people that have been Padres broadcast or the TV side of things. Yeah. I mean,
you would have thought you bought the team.
I was at 1090 for 5 years. It's been a while. I spent a lot of time at Petco.
You still work there?
I still work there. Yeah.
Wow,
I have to give money in.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not even my money. It was an investment I made. It didn't work out. Didn't work out. But yeah, it was good to see some folks.
Up with people.
Good to meet Annie in person. I never met
Annie.
Remember, I just met Acee. What was that? A week and a half ago? It was the first time I met Acee.
Wow.
I talked to these people.
Kwanza Jones or Jose Feliciano before today?
Man, I've known these.
These guys we've known for forever. We've went to Princeton together back in 95. All right. We will have Annie on the show at 4:30. She was in the building. Kevin Acee at 5. He was in the building. Now, we didn't say hi to Kevin. Did you?
No, I didn't.
No, he isn't busy. He's asking questions.
Yeah.
He
was on
articles.
the other side, too.
But I didn't see him until he was in.
Yeah.
Like asking the questions.
Why did it feel like people that were on the other side? There's two sections.
Sides, yeah.
I felt like the first section, I felt like it was so far away to go. And
did you think I went too far when I asked if they had any advice for like neck pain related to a pinched nerve?
No, I don't think so. I thought that was safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was completely fair.
Real quick on that, I had a PT appointment today with someone over telehealth. And he had a Niners poster in the background. We started talking sports. He tells me he's from Southern California. He likes the Lakers. I go, do you know my co-host, Alan Sliwa? Yeah, I watch his YouTube show.
Why did it take you?
I wanted to do it on air.
No. This one you just said real quick.
Yeah.
What is that? I was with you for 2 hours.
I also told him I went to high school with Kobe because he's a Lakers fan.
So that conversation shifted immediately.
It went everywhere.
By the way,
we talked Kawhi, who was San Diego State. We talked everything.
Today, 8/24, Kobe Day, Mama Day. His birthday was yesterday.
His birthday was yesterday. I was going to say his birthday was yesterday.
Today.
That's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, telehealth guy in Texas watches Hoops Talk with Alan Sliwa.
Can you ask him next time you see him? Just say, hey, if you don't mind, just like if you can
subscribe, smash the like. By the way, I'm going to see him next Tuesday at 10 a.m. If you want to join the telehealth, he'd love to see you. I'm sure he'd love to see you.
That's pretty fun.
All right, let's get to the wrap.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
How concerned are you guys with Casey Mize?
Brother, I feel so much better. I feel a lot better about Casey Mize. Now, there's still a little bit of level of concern. I think what makes this team right now is every single day you have some optimism based on their starting rotation. Bro, can you think about how bad that rotation was over the last a month ago when you were looking and they were just trying to piece everything together? And what is it, the pitching chaos, whatever the hell you call it. So I still got a little bit of concern because I thought Casey Mize, I know it was a very small sample size, but he looked like the second best pitcher in the Padres rotation. That I think he could put up a real fight to at least who would be the second pitcher in day 2 of a playoff matchup. So the fact that he, may miss a start, whatever the case is, a little bit of concern, but not nearly as concerned I was on Saturday night.
I agree with you. They have 31 games left, I believe, which means even if he missed a start, he could still make 5 starts before the playoffs or the final 20-something games, which I think is more than enough time to be ramped up and ready. So I'm hopeful. I'm cautious, but I'm hopeful with Mize. I like what I've seen by and large.
Yeah, I like him. He's nice.
And I'm with you. I think he could pitch in a second playoff game potentially for the Padres.
Yeah.
Next question.
What was your biggest takeaway from the Padres' new owners press conference today?
I thought there was a good energy. If I'm being honest with you, I thought there was kind of a unique balance between the two.
I agree.
And one could go for 2-3 minutes talking and share her energy and her excitement. And I thought Jose Feliciano can kind of do it in like a jab, joking way.
Yep.
Kind of get his point across in a little bit more of a dry humor. But I honestly, I think energy is the right word because I think a lot of times you get these pressers, they're boring, they stick to the script. A lot of times, too, you might have questions that are like, yeah, we'll let this person talk, that person talk, because we already know what they're going to say. I thought nothing was scripted from a response to the reporters portion of it. I thought there was good energy. Energy is how I would describe it.
I like that. We talked about this off air, but when you go back and think about the potential ownership groups of the Padres, I'm content with where they landed. I mean, the Joe Lacob conversation was interesting, but then there was the discussion about would they end up in the Bay Area? Nobody needs that conversation.
Bro, that in itself, I'm like, okay, you can't have this guy.
Qualified.
Can't have this guy.
No, so when you put them all together, there's the other Premier League ownership group. There's Dan Friedkin, who's a San Diegan, who's now actually going to be the owner of the 33rd NHL team, either in Houston or Austin. That's been confirmed by the NHL. I think they ended up with the right group among the prospective owners. I left the press conference being hopeful and optimistic. But I think most people leave press conferences hopeful and optimistic, and we'll see how it goes.
But I like it. I'm okay with it. I'm like you said, I'm excited about what the new chapter is, but we're also, they're coming on August 24th when the Padres are 11 games over 500. It's like, if this was in the off season, it's a different setting and a different conversation. There was a little bit of like, okay, turn the page. They got 3 games coming up over, this next stretch here where they got to take 2 or 3 from Pittsburgh.
And to your point, what if this team wasn't playing well? And let's say they took over and they don't control what the team's record is. They were taking over today regardless. They could be 11 under. There was a portion of the year, a month ago, they were 3 games under 500. What would the tenor of the conversation have been if this was a team on the outside looking in? Next question.
Can the Padres afford a series loss to the Pirates?
It's so weird here because we kept saying to ourselves, we changed the goalposts every time, but what did we say coming into this 6-game homestand? You got to go 4-2, and you got to take 2 or 3 from each. Okay, what if you lose 2 or 3 to Pittsburgh? Did you not do your job, or did you do your job?
Because you're 4-2.
So are you supposed to win every series, or are you supposed to just get a win total over 6 games?
You're supposed to get greedy this time of year.
But I would be very disappointed.
Yeah,
I know Pittsburgh was just in LA, and I want to say they got swept.
They did.
But I'd be so disappointed that this isn't a team that's a true playoff contender, and you lose 2 or 3 at home. So I think at this point, it has less to do with it going 5-1 in a homestand. It has more to do with it's Pittsburgh that's in front of you. Forget what happened in your last 3 games against Minnesota. You got to take 2 or 3 against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, these are 2 teams heading in complete opposite directions. Pittsburgh's dead and buried. All right. Now you got to continue taking them down that path. They're 63 and 69. Their year is over. Done. And you got to play like the better, hungrier team. Kyle Glazer, who we had on last week, said, you got to at least go 4-2 in this homestand. You are better than these 2 teams, and you're playing them at home with a lot to play for. And when he said it that way, I'm like, oh, so he's saying they got to go 5-1? They're capable of going 5-1 here. And that's where we are right now. I'm not asking for a sweep. I'm really not. Go win 2 games. We'll look back on a 5-1 homestand for these Padres, and you're putting pressure on Philadelphia and Chicago as well. So go win this series. Next question.
Did Allen overreact on SDFC?
Yeah, what did you say?
Yeah, listen, I could have overreacted a little bit.
Just a smidge.
Did you went this weekend?
I went this weekend. I got to talk to you about that. That's a cool.
Talk to me about it right now.
Well, let's first do the overreaction. Look, maybe after that loss, here's what happened. I was so angry at Dreyer because he kicked himself out of a key road game, a game that, obviously SDFC needed. They looked phenomenal on Saturday, just phenomenal. And I think something set in, and you had said it last week, and let's just keep track of this. You had said you got 4 of your next 5 games at home. Get 10 points over the course of these 5 games is, I think, what you said.
Yep.
Right? Well, they've got, if you count the LAFC game, they have 6 points in the last 3. So let's take the LAFC out. Let's take that other loss out. They already got 3 points
3 of 10
with 4 more matches to go of what you were asking for, because you said over the next 5. They looked phenomenal. I think I overreacted a little bit.
Yeah, I know you overreacted. What was the bet we made? I said if they have 10 points, you're going to buy me like a car, and if they don't, I'm going to buy you lunch.
No, it was trail mix here.
I was going to give you trail mix or the Cheez-Its.
And then I think it was something, the car, real estate. It was something like that.
Something like that. Mm-hmm. But it's a little bit like the Padres, where the soccer year is so long, the 30-something matches, that on one hand, 20 matches, they haven't played great. But on the other hand, there's still 14 matches on the other side, and you're 3 points out of a playoff spot.
But don't you typically determine things about how a team looks, what the feel is?
Yeah, but it changes. You know what I mean? That's what's so hard. It's such a moving target. It's always moving.
I agree with that. I mean, the Padres changed. That one's so drastic.
And
that one's significantly drastic there. But when's the last time you went to an SCFC game?
I went to probably 4 or 5 last season. I haven't been to one this year.
Did you go media or did you go just to
No,
go?
I went in the stands. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's great.
I want to say this. Of all the events San Diego's got to offer sports-wise, SDFC is truly as good of a fan experience of every event out there.
Had you been?
I've been there.
Okay.
Last year I went to a handful of games, went to a couple of the playoff games.
Yeah.
But there's something about, you got, first off, I think just the soccer I'm still in this kind of high of having an MLS team in San Diego. So I think there's that. Brother, the gear everybody's rocking, Padre hats everywhere, San Diego State gear everywhere, and of course SDFC gear everywhere. But it's like this mix of everything that San Diego has to offer. It's incredibly kid friendly. So a lot of these fans are bringing their, obviously their kids. And Snapdragon.
Oh, it works really well for it.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's a great venue. It is. It's a great venue.
I went to the back. They got the food trucks in the back.
Yep.
I'm ordering freaking fish tacos. Like the whole vibe is phenomenal. It was a great experience.
You go to Snapdragon Stadium, and we've talked about it before, and we'll talk about it again. The Aztecs play in less than 2 weeks. It feels like San Diego to me. I mean, there's palm trees, there's food trucks, 100%. It's open air.
100%.
They hit the nail on the head.
100%.
With trying to make it fit into the vibe of the city.
Under the circumstances, you couldn't have asked for the better stadium, size, facility, parking, food, everything.
Got Major League Soccer into the city. So, it worked out well. All right, we have an update.
I mean, Dean is still a dumbass, don't get me wrong.
That's a whole other conversation.
But, I just want to.
We have an update on Joe Musgrove, when he will pitch next. Plus, Annie Halpern from the UT will join us coming up at 4:30. Kevin Acee at 5 p.m. on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey guys, it is Schaefer again for my friends at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. It's a hot one out there. You need to swing by Starlight Pool for next level chill. You can soak up the sun and soak in the views at San Diego's ultimate rooftop pool with day passes starting at just $40. So grab your friends. You can relax, make it a pool day to remember. Plus, keep the weekend vibes going. They have Sunday pool parties at Starlight Pool, live DJs, cocktails, cabanas, all day rooftop energy. This is the hotel and spa at Jamul Casino Resort, where you can experience elevated luxury with a refined hotel stay, rooftop relaxation, indulgent spa treatments, all the excitement of Jamul Casino Resort seamlessly brought together in one unforgettable destination. And now you can take your stay to the next level. They have exclusive hotel packages crafted for the ultimate escape. While you're there, enjoy all the dining options like Jamul 23. They've got their lobster buffet every day. Enjoy all-you-can-eat lobster every day, plus dozens of other delicious stations at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place.
All right, our iHeartRadio Music Festival is back. Live performances by the Goo Goo Dolls, Kenny Chesney, Lainey Wilson, Snoop Dogg, Weezer, and more. September 18th and 19th at T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas. 2 nights, 1 stage. While the world is listening on iHeartRadio, you could be there. 3 chances every weekday for you to win your trip for 2, plus $1,000 in spending money. Next chance to text and win happens around 5 p.m. on San Diego Sports 760.
I have an update from Annie Halpern. And the update is on
geez.
when she joins us.
Oh,
so
what's
she's
happening?
on field right now doing some player-related interview content.
Gotcha.
So she's like, I can probably do 4:30, but I might have to step away. So I'm like, how about 5:30?
Do 5:30. Yeah.
And she's like, much better.
Okay.
So Kevin at 5, Annie Halpern at 5:30 here on San Diego Sports 760. We have an update on Joe Musgrove.
Yeah, talk to me.
Listen to this. He's going to pitch for AAA El Paso in Oklahoma City on Thursday. So El Paso and Oklahoma City, Dodger affiliate. And he's going to pitch Thursday, which then puts him in line for 5 or 6 days, whatever the math's going to suggest on their schedule. I think the Yankees might be in town first week of September. So my guess is that is where they're positioning him for. One more rehab start Thursday in Oklahoma City, and then 5 or 6 days later, potentially with the Padres to kick off September. And then wait on Mize. What do they do with the rotation crunch?
Where are we time-wise? Like,
So August 24th.
Ideally, you can't go any further than this. Is it September 1st?
It's now. Yeah, you need to make 4 or 5 appearances, right? You can't make one.
No, I agree
2
with
as
you.
a starter.
agree with you.
I don't think, especially in his situation now.
So,
he's not coming off of.
Is he being rushed or is he being?
Well, it's now or never.
That's what I'm saying.
For
Like, is there a little
2026.
bit of like?
Doesn't feel like it's been rushed because they're giving him the extra start or 2 in there, right? This will be maybe his 4th rehab start. It's a good number.
It could be just also they're saying we're taking our time, but come September, let's go.
I would think so, but even when he gets back, you're still going to have training wheels on.
Mhm.
They're not just going to say like,
No, I agree.
Just
I agree with you.
go?
No. I what I mean by just go is in like you're actually pitching back in the majors with the Padres.
I think after he pitches Thursday, if he can get out of it healthy, he's back in the major leagues.
Wasn't there chatter he was still going to do two more?
But like to your point, if he made 2 more and now your next rehab starts in September and the next time you're pitching in the major leagues is like September 10th or 12th, like you're up against it. The season ends September 27th, for example.
Yeah.
Like you pitch much later than September 5th or 6th. You're only going to appear a couple times.
You shocked that we're at this point with Musgrove? That we're this close?
That he's this close.
Almost
on
surprised.
one hand,
I'm
because I thought
surprised.
it was Pivetta that might come back. By the way, there's an update on Pivetta. He will make a
when is
rehab
that?
start. Pivetta is going to make a rehab start. Let me find it. And it's going to be tomorrow in Lake Elsinore, which is where he stormed off the mound. No pun intended. Stormed off the mound.
Wow. That was really
How about that?
good.
How about that?
That was really good because the Lake Elsinore storm.
No,
me a
it's not
second.
why I'm saying it.
Took me a second.
No, because he's a big, he was a meteorology guy in college.
Wow. Another big one
Yeah.
there.
Did you realize that?
You're just hitting these out of
Stormed
the,
off the mound.
You're just hitting these out of the park. All right, let's stop.
What's your
I'm a
reaction?
listener right now. I'm like, I'm good. Thanks, guys. I appreciate the time.
We sound like Jose Feliciano with his jokes.
No,
After Kwanza
Feliciano,
Jones
he killed it.
He had
Those
some
were not-
good
He
one-liners,
had
dude.
phenomenal one-liners.
Do you remember any of them?
I turned to you 2 different times. He hit one. I was like,
Ooh,
that was pretty good.
This
right there.
guy, listen to this guy.
And then he hit it again.
Yeah, he did it a few times.
I think my exact words were Wednesday, Jose Feliciano. He's in North Park doing some stand-up.
Well, she said at one point, she was like, oh, Jose Feliciano stepped in the box and against the pitching machine singled off a 96-mile-per-hour fastball. He's like, 94. Like he had that self-deprecating.
And he goes, it
humbling-
wasn't really a single. It was a comebacker to the pitcher.
I hit the ball straight. The ball just went out there.
That's pretty funny.
So good. What's more surprising, that Musgrove's this close or Nick Pivetta's rehab is back underway? I thought Pivetta might have been done.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, listen, I will tell you, it's just encouraging. So let's just put it there. Because they also don't have to depend on these guys the way we thought before the trade deadline. So it's encouraging. And can you ever have too much pitching?
No.
Ever. So I think even if these guys, and we've heard Acee say this, and I think this will be a good conversation when we talk to Kevin, but we've heard Kevin say there was a point, remember before the trade deadline, where he's like, inside of that front office, they believe one or both of these guys will be available for them at some point during the year. And I think the fact that we're just having that conversation that it could be Musgrove and that Nick Pivetta hasn't been, you know what I was waiting for Nick Pivetta? That they're like, we shut him down. It ain't happening.
Mm-hmm.
Think about these last couple of weeks, our conversation with Pivetta. I was just assuming like this thing's a wrap.
Yep.
Now, nobody's sitting here telling you that Pivetta's in a position where he's coming back tomorrow.
Right.
But Musgrove is much closer to that. I think that's encouraging, either one of these guys.
You know, the fact that you just went there, like there's a world where these earlier, like, hey, maybe they can make a run, right? Everyone's thinking that watching this team. It doesn't mean they will, but maybe they can. In a world where you're making a run, you know what happens? You get an important contribution from someone like Joe Musgrove in the postseason. Or you get an important moment from Nick Pivetta. So I don't even know if that's possible. But you know what I mean? Like it takes a village. Like it's going to take something unexpected
I'm with you on
along the way. And it could be a Pivetta. It could be a Musgrove. And who knows who else it could be for the Padres this fall. All right. Much more on that on the other side. Again, Annie Hobron's going to join us coming up at 5:30. Kevin Acee at 5 p.m. We still need to get your talkbacks, by the way, as well. And we can do that. If you want a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to see the San Diego Wave on Friday night at Snapdragon Stadium, Tell us what you think of the new ownership group and the introductory press conference by hitting us up on the Talkback mic. Search for San Diego Sports 760 and click that red Talkback microphone. More on this afternoon at Petco Park, the introduction of Jose Feliciano and Kwanza Jones. Plus, we're getting you ready for Padres and Pirates game 1 tonight at 6:40. This is Schaefer and Sliwa on San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. The Padres and Pirates are getting set for game 1 of their series tonight down at Petco Park. It's going to be Braxton Ashcraft going for Pittsburgh and Robbie Ray going for San Diego. First pitch is at 6:40. We had an NFL trade earlier today. New England is sending wide receiver Kayshon Boutte to the Texans. Texans are sending back safety Jalen Reed and a 2028 7th round pick to New England in exchange for Boutte. One other NFL sort of note, 49ers owner Jed York was arrested on suspicion of engaging in prostitution. York pleaded no contest to a pair of misdemeanor charges after being arrested in Ohio. He allegedly responded to an undercover ad on a known prostitution website and arranged to have activity with a female in exchange for $140. Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, and even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
All right, Schaefer and Sliwa. Kevin Acee at 5 p.m. You wrote about the ownership group. You spoke with them. That article in the UT, he was out there today. We'll join us at 5. Annie Halpern will join us coming up at 5:30. Padres and Pirates, Alan, tonight at 6:40. Jackson Merrill bobblehead tonight.
Oh, yeah, that's right. This is the robbing of a home run or something like that. I think it's a bobble night.
Has it lost some of its luster because of the Tatis catch? Like celebrating a Merrill catch when Tatis has had like the most iconic?
A little bit.
Just a little. But Merrill's a great defensive outfielder.
Merrill's phenomenal.
Yeah, he is.
And by the way, kind of got back on track.
He's gotten back on track. I
mean, there was a second there. They went through that. I know it was such a small sample size, but it was about a seven game stretch where he was struggling. Now it looks like he's back.
If you want to weigh in on either the surging Padres or the new ownership, 877-767-4760. That's 877-767-4760. Let's go back to the phones. And Dave, back with us here on Schaefer and Sliwa. Thanks for calling in, Dave.
Well, thanks for having me once again, guys. What a day.
Yeah.
You know, where we were a couple of months ago at this time compared to where we are now, it's the baseball gods have once again shown us that clearly baseball is an ever-changing serial drama that just goes for 162, and we still don't know where we're going to end up. But that's the fun of all of this is this is a blast, man. And today you have a new ownership group, and this Kwanza Jones, I know some people think that she's a little bit over the top. I get it, but she's the type of energy and the type of electrification that the city needs. And I hope that she doesn't get discouraged when she runs up against the typical elite power brokers that are all over the place that tend to bog things down in this city. But if she gets the right direction, the right head of steam behind her, I think great things can happen for her in this city. I'm very impressed with her communication ability, and I know it's a little bit excited today, but clearly she's articulate, she's educated, and she knows what she's talking about. And that's a good first start as far as I'm concerned. And I just wish them all the very best. I've seen every owner since C. Arnold Smith, and certainly she is no C. Arnold Smith.
Dave, we appreciate you weighing in. I think Eric Rubner today saying that he's been around for 4 ownership groups over the last 16 years.
Yeah.
Jose Feliciano multiple times today referencing that they hope to own the team for decades and decades.
Mm-hmm.
Never said years. By the way, like the situation that played out in LA with the Lakers, the 9-month spin, like based on what they said today, like I'm ruling such a thing out. And if it were to change, it would be in direct conflict to the words they stated today at Petco Park. He said decades and decades. So that to me is not a, let's go make money for 3 years. Whether we win or not, we're going to make money. It did not sound like that based on what we said today at Petco Park.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's going to be tough to predict what their motivation was of buying the San Diego Padres, $3.9 billion valuation. I think their percentage ownership around 40, something like that. But they're going to, here's what they're going to get. They're going to get a city that absolutely loves the San Diego Padres. But I think they're also going to get, which is good. This is what I think Peter Seidler created, is they're going to get expectations. And if it's almost like if I'm going to give a housing comp here, it's like buying a house at the top of the market, kind of buying it at almost its peak. The place is sold out all the time. You know, a lot of times in real estate, they're like, buy the worst house in the best neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get that, then there's a lot of room for improvement, and your value is going to come from there. what they're buying is one of the best cities in the entire country, but a fan base that has supported the San Diego Padres. There's only one of the 4 major sports, and I hope, in our lifetime that changes, because I don't think any San Diegan is proud about that. But what they're buying is they're going to eventually get to a point where people will judge them on, you got the best interest of San Diego, and are you helping this franchise? We heard them say, the word I liked that came out of their mouths, and you heard this a couple times, we want to compete. We like competing. Mm-hmm. If you're in our position, you have to compete. And I think that's something that is very, very important to, if you're going to have success with a franchise. Now, how you get there, it doesn't matter. Just you figure out what that path is. But competing is one of the most important words that a fan base wants to hear. We want to compete. And hopefully they follow that.
Yeah, no, I echo that. The one thing, like, if there's one part of it today that I'm not saying it rubbed me the wrong way,
okay,
but I don't necessarily love when, what's the word I'm trying to use? Like when we go down the pathway of small market San Diego and like a little engine that could. Now, maybe to some extent there is some truth to that. I understand it's not New York, it's not LA. Obviously, if you've been to New York or LA, there's differences between those two cities and San Diego. And you can weigh pros and cons in all these cities that have professional sports. But this idea that like San Diego is so little and so small and like competing is just remarkable. Like San Diego is a massive city. It's the 2nd largest city in the state of California. It's the 8th largest actual city in America. Yes, there's some things that work against it. Like there's an ocean to our west, and there's another country to our south, and there's a desert to our east. So,
sure.
like from a television viewership perspective,
and as you go north,
it's the LA
one of
market.
The larger markets in the entire country.
So there's some truth to the small market, but I'm like, but hasn't it been disproven by the support of the market in which we are? Would you rather be, here, I'll give you an example. Would you rather be a big market and have no support at all, or a quote unquote small market and have all the support in the world? There's no comparison for me. I'm trying to use the comp. Like, what's a big market in baseball that doesn't, it's not even irrelevant. Like,
I think you texted me something about it's not a good comp because it's not a big market, but sometimes you could be a small fish in a big pond because within the city that you're in, the Brewers.
Did you see this, Brent?
Brewers have to deal with the Packers.
Mizorowski, after his start, they're 31 games over 500.
I think it was him. It was a game that he went up against Sale, and I want to say Milwaukee won 2-1 that game. Something along those lines. It put him
31 games over 500 or whatever at the time. Yeah. He starts his postgame like by his locker, and he goes, "Is this it?" And the reporter goes, "Yeah, the Packers play." He goes, "Oh." I mean, think about that. I mean, we've lived it. If you were a Chargers fan in this city, you have understood the dynamic at play, because obviously when the Chargers start playing football, that takes a precedent by and large.
Yeah, but not always. But not like that. Like I'm telling you, plenty of us, and I'm sure I'm talking to an audience where you lived your entire life to San Diego when the Chargers were still here. If the Padres were 30 games over 500, it doesn't matter what the Chargers are doing. And it's not that the Chargers wouldn't get unbelievable amount of attention. I got the whole season for the Chargers. I'm fine. This team is 30 games over 500. That's an embarrassment what was happening in Milwaukee.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that. But even look at Philadelphia. Like the Phillies have won 9 consecutive games. There's just as much attention on the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, expectations. There is a similar amount of attention on the Eagles.
Philly's got a fan base.
Yeah, no, you're right.
It's just not that. I think the Brewer thing is it's the biggest slap in the face to one of your franchises.
Here's my point I'm making. That while it may be true that San Diego isn't the same market share of Los Angeles or New York, right? Mm-hmm. They don't have all of those advantages, including sheer population. But they also have the lion's share of attention. So yes, is Philadelphia a bigger city with a larger television market than San Diego? Factual answer is yes. But in Philadelphia, attention is distributed across 3, 4, 5 teams. That's not the case here. And that's the secret of San Diego. That's why they're worth $3.9 billion. The secret sauce of the Padres is they have the lion's share of attention, where In the Bay Area, you might have the Niners, but you also have the Warriors.
Yeah, listen, maybe it's advantageous, maybe it's not. I could probably argue that it is advantageous for the new ownership group. You've also never won in this city.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by advantageous is you could be the first franchise to win here, right? And your ownership group, and I think no matter what happens moving forward, any success, people will still look back and say, hey, Peter Seidler has a lot to do with
Started with Peter
Seidler. But I think there's also, when I hear people say small market, I think what they mean by that, not necessarily the actual size of the market. Look, San Diego is one of the most sought off places in the country. But from a sports perspective, we have not delivered, period. Like that's a fact. And it's not, there's a lot of San Diegans that are probably walking around. It's like, what the hell do you want me to do? I don't have control over this. I don't run the city. I didn't determine whether a stadium should be built or shouldn't be built, should have been in downtown, should have been in Mission. There's only so much that they have a say in. But from a sports perspective, we haven't delivered. Like it hasn't happened. And not everything is in the hands of a fan. So that's the part where I can see when somebody says, you look at San Diego, I don't think people look at San Diego as a small market, but I think from a sports perspective, we haven't lived up to, we should have accomplished more, and hopefully that happens down the road.
Honestly,
we also had terrible owners, and that's just the honest truth about it.
And some good ones, like obviously Peter Seidler's ownership, but you're right. I mean, a lot of the city of San Diego's sports history is tied to awful ownership. Spanos ownership, situation with the Clippers going back 40 years. Donald Sterling's ownership. I mean, think about that. Some of the worst owners in the last 50 years in professional sports are San Diego sports franchises. Sterling situation, Spanos situation. I'm not saying they're unrivaled, but they'd be towards the top of the list.
Well, and you're also looking at, what's the success of those franchises? Nothing.
Yeah.
As in, there's literally
nothing.
Never been no success. I'm talking about success. I mean, where you actually get a ring for your success.
Even any success, by and large, I mean, those are not the franchises that are like,
no,
every year they're so close. No, I mean, it's very rare where they're anywhere near getting close to a championship. All right, much more on the new ownership group of the Padres coming up. Kevin Acee will join us live at 5 p.m. He was there today for the introduction of Jose Feliciano and Kwanza Jones, and Annie Halbrin will join us coming up at 5:30. Stay with us on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, teachers make a difference each and every day. Now's your chance to say thank you. iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by donors. Choose, nominate an outstanding public school teacher who goes above and beyond for their students. They could be one of our $5,000 winners for classroom supplies and resources. Teachers give so much. Now it's our turn to give back. Nominate a teacher now at iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
All right, so Kevin Acee will join us coming up at 5 p.m. He wrote earlier today about the new ownership group, Jose Feliciano and Kwanza Jones. I do have a question, Alan, about it, a serious question. Because
I have to test you on an ABS question after. Go.
Okay, no, do the ABS.
No, go, you go.
Okay, ball. Is that strike? My question is, how do two people run one team? Because they're co-owners.
Yep.
Now, only one can officially be a chairperson at Major League Baseball, right? There's only one.
I believe so, and I think that's Jose Feliciano.
But they're married.
Mm-hmm.
And they are co-owners of the franchise. Are you at all curious how that will present itself in like the real scope of owning a professional sports team? It's not an owner, it's multiple owners.
The only thing I could say is it seems like in their tremendous amount of success in their lives that they have figured out a way. I mean, she even said something. Remember how she started? She's like, if you want to know how this works, and she goes, not the microphone, because she had hit the microphone and she had just started.
Her dynamic with
their
Jose,
dynamic.
yeah.
And she's like, any relationship, communication, and things along those lines. I mean, it'd be tough for me to, obviously figure that out. But what I can tell you is they've done a lot together and they've accomplished a lot together. So does that really change on their own dynamic? I don't know. At the end of the day, what they're going to need to do is hire the right people and put the right people in place. And those are supposed to be the people that make those baseball decisions for them. But there's a lot of decisions that come from ownership. That's just the whole dynamic of what the team is. The front office, she said the back office. I think, she was referencing a few different things.
Well, you made the point earlier, and I agree. It's like, and we've said this a lot over the last month as we've talked about the new ownership. It's so damn important to have the right ownership group. Like you could have a good GM, but you could have bad owner. Like you don't want that combination. I'm not saying they're going to be bad or good. I don't know how good they're going to be, but it really does start there. The investment, interest level, how you act. It's not just what they said today. And we talked about this to start the show. It's nice. I didn't hear anything that I was like, oh, that's kind of off-putting. Like, I'm surprised they went there with it. I heard good things, as in I think they quote unquote won a press conference, as I expected them to do. But in the history of sports, everyone's probably had good introductory press conferences, and a good portion of those ownership groups aren't very good.
Yeah, I think look, I could be critical at a couple of things.
Okay.
I can.
Yeah.
I think one of the things I'd be critical, I'm kind of sick of hearing the whole, we got to win a World Series. There's a little bit to me that I know that I'm going to hear that. I actually liked his original answer when he's like, I can't promise you anything, but what I can promise you is we're going to do everything we can to try to win a World Series. Because that's the truth. You can't guarantee me a World Series. The truth is, I don't need to hear we're going to win. And by the way, everybody does this differently. There's plenty of people that speak things into existence. That's in their DNA. If I talk about this enough, I'm going to figure out how to make it happen. I for the most part, I thought it was exactly what you thought, but I liked getting to know a little bit of them. Like I liked their personalities. You and I talked a little bit about that. We really hadn't heard anything from them. So a lot of this was like completely brand new to what any San Diegan or what any Padre fan knew what to expect. I didn't know what the hell to expect today. And I walked away feeling a little optimistic. I like the energy. I like the style. I don't know if that's what that's going to equal into how many baseball games are going to be won based off of that.
Can I be honest, dude? I have to be. I prefer that the team is owned by individuals, not corporations. And here's the distinction, because like Chelsea, which Feliciano also owns a portion of.
Chelsea got brought up a couple times.
It did, but is also through an investment of Clear Lake Capital, the PE firm he founded in 2006, he co-founded. This was made clear and has been made clear now multiple times, including today. This is not Clear Lake's investment. That's a big difference. it's not the investment of a PE firm. That's a way different distinction.
There's no emotional tie of whether the team won or they didn't.
This is the investment of two individuals, one of which has created a vast amount of their wealth through private equity and a firm he co-founded in 2006. I prefer what they're doing as opposed to the opposite, which would be Clear Lake Capital's investment in the Padres. I prefer the individual's investment in the Padres. I feel like there's more to gain and lose. It's more personal when done this way. This is more generational. This is more like, Seidler, we want to keep it in the family. This to me is more, I'm not in it for the quick turn, the quick buck. This is more like I'm in it for the generations. And we'll see if that's the case or not. That's how it was presented, in my opinion, today. Yeah. We'll see if that's right or not.
And I think, where it gets mixed, I'll use Chelsea ownership as an example. It's like, it's an investment. You have investors.
Yep.
Are we spending too much money? How can we make more money? What are areas that, and listen, I think there's a lot of times you can tie success to a profitable business.
Of course. That's how business works, right?
However, a lot of owners can make a case, I don't need to be successful to make money. I actually can spend less money
and still be successful. Yeah.
I got TV money that's coming in. I got ticket sales. I got merchandise. Why am I going to go spend $200 on a baseball team?
Right.
$200 million on a baseball team. I'll spend $140. I'll keep 60.
Right.
So I think that the difference is there is a personal tie to their names. That this is like, if I told you there's a corporation that's putting out food and the food is just like, I'm not going to name a burger shop, but it's like they don't care about the quality, churn and burn. We just want to sell as much of these possible rather than it says John Schaefer's Burgers. I'm a little more prideful about John Schaefer's Burgers because it ties back to me. And I think for them, there will be an individual, your success. I can tell who are the people that made this successful, who are the people that failed the franchise or the city. I could tie it directly to them.
I'm one of these people that always believes like in a first impression, like you trust it. Doesn't mean it's always right, but I get a feeling oftentimes if I meet someone, I'm like, oh, I could vibe with this person, or I have this feeling about this person. Yeah. And oftentimes this is, I feel like true in life with humans. Like you have a decent feel. It doesn't have to be in 1 second, but you have a 5-minute conversation with someone, like, oh yeah, I could work with that person, or I could be a friend with that person, or we could go on double dates with this couple, right? You have a feel.
We met instantly. You're like, this ain't going to work.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
And I was right.
And I said, you sure?
But here was my first impression specifically of Jose Feliciano. You know the thing I said to myself? I said, I like him. I like what he's saying. I like the way he presents himself.
I'm with you.
I thought it was authentic. I'm not telling you he's going to bring 5 World Series titles here, but I liked him as a person. I liked what I heard. Kwanza Jones is very aspirational, very creative. I would say I feel like we're creative. This is what we do for a living. I respected where she was coming from.
Energetic.
The energy. But I was thinking more, honestly, my mind went more to Jose Feliciano. It really just did. And kind of like the person he was and what he's trying to accomplish and what type of investment this is.
Maybe more calculated.
Yes. And my initial, after just hearing him for 3 to 5 minutes, was I'm in line with what he's saying. I'm buying in. Now I can be fooled. I'm not saying your first impression is always right. I had a good first impression of Jose Feliciano. I hope I'm right.
Yeah, listen, to be honest, like we got no reason to, unless proven otherwise, it's okay. Just be optimistic about it.
Yeah, it's true.
See where it goes.
Yeah.
And if there's going to come a moment where there's a fork in the road.
Of course.
And we're going to find out from this ownership. Oh, no. They put their money where their mouth is. And I don't even mean, like, I hate to say it because you and I have talked about this. I don't need their success to be completely based on we're going to go try to outspend everybody. No, run a smart, intelligent organization that's in the mix every year. There's a way you could do that without having to spend $300 million. Like I don't care whether they spent $100 million or $300 million. Whatever your path to success is, I'm interested. And I think that obviously watching them over time, we'll get a better idea.
Kevin Acee on the other side, he wrote, actually, you know what? He spoke with them at length on Saturday.
That's right.
He wrote at length.
Don't connect the fingers. Just
he wrote about Jose Feliciano and Kwanza Jones after a 90-minute conversation with him. He was at the press conference today as well. He'll join us live on the other side. Coming up at 5:30, Annie Halpern from the UT as well here on Schaefer and Sliwa. Something big is coming on September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day arrives with massive deals, exclusive deals, and an all-day celebration built for sports fans. The countdown has begun. All roads lead to game day.
The DraftKings Sports app is now live in all 50 states. That means California, from Texas to Florida. Every fan is in on the excitement. One app, every sport, all 50 states. DraftKings Game Day is yours. Remember the date, September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day is the kickoff of a new season, a new era, and the biggest day in sports history. Get pumped. Get ready to celebrate. New DraftKings customers sign up with the code SD760. Spend $5 to get $200 in rewards within 21 days. That's code SD760.
In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click-to-claim issued in non-withdrawable predictions dollars that expire in 1 year. Terms dkng.co/predictions promo. Nationwide based on sportsbook predictions and free-to-play sports contest availability varies by state.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. The Padres and Pirates are getting set for game 1 of their series tonight down at Petco Park. It's going to be Braxton Ashcraft going for Pittsburgh and Robbie Ray on the hill for the Friars. First pitch tonight is at 6:40. We had an NFL trade today. New England is sending wideout Kayshon Boutte to the Texans. The Texans are sending back safety Jalen Reed and a 2028 7th-round pick. And one other NFL note, 49ers owner Jed York was arrested on suspicion of engaging in prostitution. York pleaded no contest to a pair of misdemeanor charges after being arrested in Ohio. He allegedly responded to an undercover ad on a known website and arranged to have activity with a female in exchange for $140. Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects more Americans than TV, digital, even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
All right, Kevin Acee about to join us live here on Schaefer and Sliwa to kick off the final hour of the show. Annie Halpern will join us coming up at 5:30. Busy day.
Oh, yeah.
And we haven't even gotten to the game. Padres Pirates play tonight.
Freaking screw this up, Robbie Ray.
I know.
Need
Keep
a
the
good
vibes going.
Need a good one from Robbie Ray.
We've got Kevin Acee, our Padres Insider, wrote extensively on the new owners after speaking with them extensively over the weekend. Of course, was at the press conference today as well. Kevin, we always appreciate your time. Your initial thoughts in speaking with both of these owners and then what they had to say today to the media just a few hours ago.
Well, I will say that for me personally, I was glad to be able to spend a couple hours with them on Saturday to be able to be prepared and kind of know what was coming in terms of the energy of one of them. And to know that, wow, this is legit. Like, this is honestly who Kwanza Jones is. Like, this is how she feels. And, you know, I thought they did a fantastic job today. You'll remember that last week I said none of it matters, and I still believe that. Like, it matters that they came on the record, and I feel like we're very forthcoming about as much as they could be, right? They're not going to give a dollar amount or make outlandish promises. That would be foolish, but I thought they were forthcoming about their financial plans, and now they're on the record about that. And I thought that was interesting, and it was good to get to know them. But like, we'll find out in the future. Like, the proof is in the pudding. But one thing that I can say is that I believe that they are as down to earth. I haven't met many billionaires, but they are as down to earth as I think that they could possibly be. And I think that it's real. I think it's real.
Kevin, you know, again, there's no way of predicting this, but what do you think we start kind of getting some of the answers to our questions? Like you said, you do an introductory press conference. You're going to try to say all the right things. And it felt like today they won the PR game with the city of San Diego and with Padre fans. But what moments are you going to look for over the next 3 months, 6 months, year that kind of tells the story of, okay, do I feel like this is a good step for the Padres? Is it, well, this one surprised me. And I know there's no prediction, but like, what are things you're going to look for over the next year or so?
Complicated. I'm glad you said year at the end, because it's going to be complicated for a little while by the lockout,
yeah,
right?
You're right. Sure.
And kind of to not, you know, it would be difficult to like hold against them that, you know, they don't do some big deal in free agency before the lockout, right? Like when Adrian Morejon's exclusive window, right? Or Ty France or something. But like, that would tell us something. If they did do that, that would tell us something. Now, easier said than done. I'm not saying they should, or like, oh, if they don't, it's a bad thing, but that would tell us something. So it's going to be those types of moments. In terms of like, gosh, what our payroll is going to look like? What semblance of a cap or some sort of controlled spending? What is that going to look like? How do they, along with AJ Preller and Josh Stein, come up with creative ways to maybe get out from under a certain contract or things like that? And you know, I'm going to be looking at do their actions reflect what they said today about being, was it aggressive? Like,
competitive,
sure. Yeah, all these words, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel bad that there was this one phrase that I think maybe some people took like a little too much or out of context. We said we're going to live within our means. I feel like that had a connotation to it, you know, but it didn't. It was the same thing as he said everything else. We're going to field a competitive, or we're going to try to field a competitive team. We are not going to, he didn't say this, I'll say it. We're not going to be Steve Combs.
Interesting. Kevin Acee is our Padres Insiders with us right now on Schaefer and Sliwa. In your conversations with the couple, or even based on what they said today, do you believe one of the parts that made this appealing was the fact that San Diego has never won, they've never won a title? I guess my question is this more about the investment, or is this more about the opportunity to accomplish something on field?
I really believe that it is, if you have to choose one, it's more about accomplish something on the field, provide something for, you know, the community. There's a phrase that Kwanza Jones uses, or like phrases, where just basically the idea is you have to give, you have to make a mark. You have to make people's lives better. And there's a lot in her background that's fascinating. I'll get into later. A lot in his background, obviously. We're talking about a guy who, you know, lived in Puerto Rico and has said himself he wouldn't have had these opportunities if he stayed there. They are, you know, he got his way to Princeton, Stanford. She came from not a, you know, bad. Her parents were both lawyers, but there's things in her background, and she, again, Princeton, I believe NYU, and then Pepperdine Law. I mean, these are like people who made it on their own. And I think that it comes across that they're I don't want to say prideful. I want to make sure they're proud of that. And that's a part of their badge. And that, yes, there are things about San Diego and the Padres that appeal to them. We can never look at this naively, as you know, and say it wasn't also an investment. Here's the thing I learned dealing with billionaires as rarely as I do. They are rich for a reason. Mm-hmm. They do not throw their money away.
Kevin Acee, our Padres Insider, joining us here on the Schaefer and Sliwa Show. Kevin, I'm going to try to transition. I mean, today, obviously, a crazy day. New ownership comes in, but what a weekend for the Padres. They win 3 straight, sweep the Minnesota Twins. Still just the 2-game. I was joking around with this on John. It feels like they should be up by more than 2 games in that wild card spot. But just what are some of your takeaways over the weekend, and just how impressive it was, whether dominating from start to finish or coming back on Saturday the way they did? What are some of the things that stood out to you?
They took advantage of another team, and let's be honest, not a very good team. I had some good pitching. Pitching has given the Padres problems before, but they took advantage of mistakes, and that's what good teams do. One point I try to always make the fans who will nitpick, and that doesn't make fans wrong when they nitpick about like yesterday's game and they were given some runs, and the night before they were given some runs and opportunities. Well, yeah, that's what the Dodgers do to everybody. Like, you take advantage of those situations. We're watching one team, but you need to understand, like, that is what good teams do. Now, down the line, the Padres are going to have to beat some good teams. And look, they swept the Brewers, so that's something. But they're going to have to be that team. But I just thought, man, not only did they put together 2 4-run innings and a 5-run inning. So 3 big innings, 1 in each day, which they had not done since last July. They did it without, in any of those innings, hitting a home run. Now, they're going to throw back home runs. That's great. But they also hit home runs in the game. But that inning, it was some of the best at bats that you're going to see. And when I say that, I mean in a row, 5, 6, 7 in a row. That's really hard to do. That's what they weren't doing earlier in the year. 2, 3 good at bats followed by a bad one, another good at bat and a bad one. And now, they're playing with a lot of confidence. It's a lot easier to be unselfish at bats. And that's what you're saying.
Do you think the story right now, Kevin, is more from a Padres perspective? You cover it and you live it every day. Is it more as they try to strive for the postseason? Is it more about the teams behind them, like Arizona 2 games back? Or has the story shifted to, can they track down Philadelphia? I know they're scorching hot. Can they even track down Chicago? How do you see it?
There was some talk about that here today. I don't buy it. I think they're playing the 6th spot. I mean, but I say that, and I'm going against my rule, right? They're 33? I forget what it is. 34 games to go. No, there's only 31.
Yep, 31.
My gosh, how long ago was it we were wondering if the Phillies were going to fall off?
Yep.
Like that, and there've been a couple times this year the Phillies have had a surge. Forget what the Red Sox did, but there was a time where it's like, oh, Diamondbacks, nope, dude, it's this game and this season. This game is so unpredictable and this season is so long. And even the idea that there's more than a month left, but I would say they're going for the 6 months in my opinion. But I did want to share that, they haven't stopped thinking about that. And when I say they, I'm not talking about the players. They obviously believe they could, or they would project they could track down the Dodgers. And they would also project they're not thinking about it. But I'm talking about the people that, that are involved in the building of the team, the managing of the team. I'm not talking about the manager, but the people, the staff, the front office. They see a path toward catching the Phillies.
Kevin, just curious to get your thoughts on the Casey Mize stuff from Saturday. Anything today that came out? It sounds like it wasn't as bad as people initially thought, and it could be day to day. Just anything come out today that's worthwhile?
Yeah, he could throw his bullpen, and I wrote about this morning and that was confirmed today, that he could throw his bullpen tomorrow. You know what? Probably, or might be a good idea to wait till Wednesday. Now, the good thing for the Padres is he wasn't pitching until Friday anyway. They have an off day. So the off day gives them that cushion. Also, the fact that they have the off day means they could bring, Mize, Buehler. They could bring Buehler back on 4 days rest. They don't want to do it, but you could push Mize back even another day. Because of the off day, and you wouldn't have anybody coming on short rest. So they have a little bit to play with, and the bottom line is it doesn't seem like it would be more than that. As long as he doesn't, I don't know, when he's throwing a bullpen tomorrow, land on it weird and tweak it again because they were wrong. But right now, the plan is that in the next 2 days he would do a bullpen and then make his start either on schedule or a day behind.
Final one for me would be on Joe Musgrove and Nick Pivetta. We get some word that Musgrove throws Thursday, I think, in OKC, and Pivetta throws tomorrow for Lake Elsinore. Is this kind of the end of the rehab road for Musgrove coming off Thursday if he is healthy on the other side?
It could be. They think that it'll be another one, but they could be. So look. Whatever they say, and yes, obviously there have been positive reports, and the metrics say that there have been positives, right? But whatever they say, there's a reason that not only was he going to get pushed back to Tuesday, which then would have been, 10 days? He's now being pushed back to Thursday, so 12 days. It's not all positive. Now, it doesn't mean it's negative. The guy hasn't recovered as well as you would like. And that's to be expected to some extent. And that was what the whole thing was. And I wrote about that last week in New York, is that the reason that it could be one, maybe two more, is that is what they're waiting for. Throw 80 pitches, get up 5 times, look good. More importantly, the next day and the day after that. And then when you do your bullpen, feel like you know how you're supposed to feel and make another one, and boom, then we'll be, and then recover and we'll be ready to go. So that's, gosh, I mean, they have lots of time. They're going to at some point renew his rehab because that's going to run out. And Joe would have to agree to that, but Joe wants to be, Joe wants to be right when he comes back. He's not going to be like, no, I got to come back now. He's not. Very few people I feel confident in, not speaking for them, but saying what they think without me having talked to Joe about it, is Joe's not going to do that. So it could be September 15th, but right now we're probably talking about 2 more.
All right, so real quick on that, because I hadn't realized this. Did you realize this, Alan? So Joe Musgrove is going to be 10 plus days between starts? I didn't even realize that.
Well, Friday, right? Friday before last in El Paso.
All right. So that's
it was always, well, I shouldn't say always. It was going to be like an extra day or something like that. And he went to El Paso and then came back because he kind of tweaked his back. Now the back's okay, but he's in better shape than us, or he's younger than us, but you also don't mess around with that. So they're giving it even an extra few days.
Yeah, that's interesting how this all plays out with him. Yeah, I hadn't fully recognized how much time there was between appearances. Kevin, great reporting this weekend in the UT, and we look forward to connecting with you later in the week, and thanks for doing it.
Right on. Take care.
Is that concerning? I hadn't put the 2 and 2 together. Joe Musgrove's going to be 12 days between starts.
Yeah, I didn't put that together either.
I just hadn't thought of it.
And I don't think, again, I just kind of wait for, is there something negative anybody's saying? And I haven't really been hearing anything negative.
Yeah. Well, we'll hear from Craig Stammen on the
that's
latest on the
what's out
Padres'
there.
health on the other side. Andy Halpern at 5:30 here on Schaefer and Sliwa.
All right, SDFC is back at Snapdragon Stadium Saturday night. You know who they're taking on.
Of course, I knew they're taking on LA Galaxy.
Bro, LA Galaxy coverage with Adrian and Darren begins at 7. Home for SCFC San Diego Sports 760. That means Chucky back in San Diego.
Exactly right. This weekend.
A big time matchup again. Let's see. I still saw. I'm kind of getting a little insane here with taking a look at the standings. I was losing it all weekend. I'm at the SCFC game, and I'm trying to see like as quick as the match ends. I'm like, okay, are we in a playoff spot yet? Still not a playoff spot.
They're Mr. They're not going to make the postseason.
But then listen, they're 11th, 27 points.
They're 1 point behind 7th.
Yes, but think about how big that game comes on Saturday. Galaxy's right behind you.
1 point behind San Diego.
There's a kind of incredible game coming up here on Saturday. I think it's going to be an unbelievable game.
Yeah, I think San Diego is situated well enough. Not perfectly, but again, still the home matches, coming off a win.
Yep.
They're situated well enough. We'll see if they can capitalize this weekend at Snapdragon Stadium. What did you have for me, by the way, related to ABS? Annie Halbern will join us coming up at 5:30. What were you going to share with me about ABS?
I want you to guess on a couple of these.
Okay.
I got to find them because they were there earlier.
Oh, that's great.
Now they're not. Well, I mentioned it to you about 45 minutes ago. Okay.
I don't even know what you mentioned, but you're like, I have something for you ABS related.
I'm going to need a second. It's not there anymore.
I
don't know. ESPN took it. They took it down.
Do we want to hear from Craig Stammen? And then
let's
hear
absolutely.
from Craig Stammen.
Yep.
This is some health updates. I think beginning with Nick Pivetta. This is Craig Stammen.
He had the bullpen already. It went really well. Nick's feeling good. He's going to pitch for Lake Elsinore tomorrow. So that'll be his, again, rehab starting over again. But very excited. He's feeling very good right now. Feeling a lot better. Very excited about his next opportunity.
And then Joe is going to be throwing on Tuesday, right? Making his last rehab assignment, we hope. Could you share where that's going to be if you already know?
Joe is going to pitch on Thursday instead of Tuesday now. So bumping him back a few days. He'll pitch for El Paso I think they're in Oklahoma City. So we'll get him out there on Thursday. He's excited about that. His bullpen went really well. Just decided to give him a little extra rest with the back and, make sure he's ready to go, 100%, for that outing.
So the back.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what Kevin said.
Yeah.
Because now it's been things other than the elbow. His whole year, this 2026, hasn't been like, oh, well, it's the Tommy John. No, it's like it's been a series of other setbacks.
But, just think about this. 2 years he hasn't pitched in a Major League Baseball game. His entire body is trying to adjust to it. I'm okay with it. I don't care.
True.
I think whatever they got to do to just continue that process to get closer and closer. Maybe we get to a point where he's back with the Padres. Maybe we don't.
Yeah.
I still think there's no kind of guarantee there, but let him go through his process, whatever happens.
All right. Did you find your big stat for me?
What do you mean, you big stat? What do you mean? What are you talking about?
I want to hear this because I'm very curious. Well, where
2026 MLB ABS Challenge System Tracker, team player rankings. I want you to guess which, and you can jump in this too, Brent, if you want. Which San Diego Padre is in the top 10 of ABS challenge leaders, not catcher. So this is just
the position player.
Position player.
The batter.
Top 10 is actually ranked 8th.
Well, the way you say
all of Major League Baseball, and I should give you. No, I'm just gonna. You guys watch all the games. You guys can take your guess. I'll tell you, it's not. It's definitely not Manny. You don't have to worry about Manny Machado because he's.
But
he's
the way you're saying it, I feel like there's a little bit of like a twist, like it's an M. Night Shyamalan type situation.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with Xander Bogaerts.
Okay.
I'm going to say Jackson Merrill because Tatis never challenges anything.
Yeah,
Tatis doesn't.
He doesn't.
Machado challenges everything.
There's some other guys in there, obviously.
Xander Bogaerts, which makes sense. I think Xander has been actually pretty calculated when he does it.
He is. He obviously hasn't been perfect, and I can think of somewhere he was wrong. How do they track it out? Like the percent he's right or whatever?
Successful versus challenges.
So what is it? Well, like what's
his success rate is? Okay, if you had to guess a success rate, okay, and the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because the highest success rate
is what?
Of everyone in baseball. 80? What percentage do you think it is?
80?
56.8%.
That's insane. That actually speaks to how good the umpires are because the players only getting it right 55+% of the time.
That's a good point.
So it's hard.
Love to
It's
the catchers.
Yeah, it's
or
hard.
to the umps.
Does it speak to how good the umps actually are, or how big the egos are in some of these players? We
Well,
brought
maybe.
Manny
That's
up where
true.
how many
Sometimes
guys, how many
challenge is
Mannies
the
are out there
challenge.
just challenging
Yeah, that's a good
everything?
point.
Manny
That's a
is
good point.
straight ego.
It's just challenge.
I'm like,
is the
Manny,
challenge.
this is
like it's a strike.
this is if I can find some faults in Manny Machado,
Yeah.
I'm like the ABS challenge is a perfect example.
Yeah.
You're doing this because of your ego and has nothing to do with the baseball.
He challenged
player.
one recently where they didn't have challenges and the pitch was a
Right.
foot in the zone. It was a foot in the zone. So Xander
All right.
Bogaerts.
Xander, what
would you extend him?
his percentage is
53.9.
55.6.
It's good.
Catcher ABS challenge leaders. They only list the top 20. Padres aren't in it.
Padres aren't in.
So
That doesn't
Padres
surprise
don't have
me.
a catcher that's in it.
All right,
So-
Andy Halpern's going to join us on the other side. How about I got Xander?
You got Xander.
Look at
That's-
Xander.
that's
He's having a
impressive.
good year.
By the way, but
Top 10.
the funny thing about Xander is it actually makes sense. You watch a
It does
Padre
make
game,
sense.
I'm like, when
It does
Xander
make sense.
challenges, actually,
Yeah,
he's on
I
point.
agree. Andy Halpern was at the press conference earlier today. She'll join us on the other side, get us ready for Padres and Pirates game 1 as well. That's next on Schaefer and Sliwa. Something big is coming on September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day arrives with massive deals, exclusive deals, and an all-day celebration built for sports fans. The countdown has begun. All roads lead to game day.
The DraftKings Sports app is now live in all 50 states. That means California from Texas to Florida. Every fan is in on the excitement. One app, every sport, all 50 states. DraftKings Game Day is yours. Remember the date, September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day is the kickoff of a new season, a new era, and the biggest day in sports history. Get pumped. Get ready to celebrate. New DraftKings customers. Sign up with that code SD760. Spend $5 to get $200 in rewards within 21 days. That's code SD760.
In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click to claim, issued in non-withdrawable predictions dollars that expire in 1 year. Terms dkng.co/predictions promo. Nationwide based on sportsbook predictions and free-to-play sports contest availability. Varies by state.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. Padres and Pirates are getting set for game 1 of their series tonight down at Petco Park. It's going to be Braxton Ashcraft going for the Pirates and Robbie Ray going for the Friars. First pitch is at 6:40. We had one NFL trade today. The Patriots are sending wideout Kayshon Boutte to the Texans for safety Jalen Reed and a 2028 7th round pick. Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because more people are listening to radio today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, and even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
Schaefer and Slee with San Diego Sports 760. Annie Halbrin, friend of the show, back with us. We saw Annie today at the introductory press conference. It was the first meeting. I saw the first meeting between Annie and Alan.
Yeah, first time we met.
That was unbelievable.
We talk to each other, Annie, like we're long-term friends, but we've never actually met.
Well, they met today, and Annie's with us right now on 760. Annie, it was great to see you earlier today, and thanks for joining us here on 760.
It was great to see both of you. And yeah, Alan, I kind of felt like I knew you a long time. Like it must have been like a kindred spirit thing, you know? So maybe just talking to you so often, I just felt very familiar. But it was great to see you both. Awesome that you showed up.
Yeah, it was. I was saying I haven't been to a press conference at Petco.
You said it was one. You said
since Xander's introductory press conference. That's how Jim became famous or infamous. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't call Jim famous, but of course the back of his head. And I did everything in my power not to have the back of our heads on TV. Here today, let's get to the press conference. What did you think as we get to interact with this new ownership group for the first time? What did you make of the vibes and the words that were spoken this afternoon at Petco?
Well, the vibes were definitely high. We can say that. The vibes were high. It was a lot to process. In fact, I was just talking to a few people up in the press box, and we were all kind of saying how we're still processing it. It was a lot to take in. I think it was unique. It was entertaining. The two of them obviously are very engaged. They're very passionate. They look like they're going to be a lot of fun. But it is kind of still what I talked about the other, a few weeks ago with both of you. I still feel the same way, where it's like this was a very celebratory press conference. There weren't, very many nitty-gritty hard questions. There weren't huge things to tackle. It was just kind of a very soft, fun press conference, as these things go when a new owner is introduced. So I think it's still going to be what is it going to be like when things get more nitty gritty, when things get more serious? How are things going to be over the course of a couple of years? Yeah, I think we're still going to be watching all of that very carefully and very closely. But I thought that they said a lot of great things in terms of wanting to win and wanting to invest and wanting to bring a competitive product to the field. I guess I'd be a little weirded out if they didn't say that stuff, but it felt mostly genuine. You guys were there. I wonder if you agree.
Yeah. By the way, I think the genuine part I agree with. I think it didn't feel like they were. I thought, obviously, I thought Jose Feliciano was kind of had his own personality, a little bit of dry humor that was in the mix. Nothing seemed really forced. I thought, Kwanza Jones kind of owned the presser, and she had her personality, and I think she definitely. I think it was genuine. I think she's genuinely excited. And I think what you said, Andy, the tough part with a presser like this, I don't know what that's going to mean. I don't know what it's going to mean when tough circumstances, certain situations, do you sign a certain player? Do you not? You got to make important decisions in your front office. How do they go about doing so? So it's kind of it's a weird position for everybody, because in sports, everything is about did you win or did you lose, and we all react to it. This is not really something that I think you could react to the same way.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that it's going to be actions over time that are really going to tell the full story. And if they bring that enthusiasm or that engagement in, that's great. But what are the actions? What is it going to look like you said, when hard times hit? Because at some point you're going to get punched in the face, or things are going to go awry, and what will it look like then? But, after the press conference, they went and talked to the team inside the clubhouse, and they did do the whole thing. They played the song just like she played coming into the press conference we were at. They did that for the clubhouse, and did it, I think, in Spanish leaving the clubhouse, from what I heard. So again, there was an attention to detail on some of that stuff in terms of wanting to present themselves in a certain way, in a certain fashion. And then they went out on the field and they had their son with them, and they went out on the field and they took a ton of pictures, and they just kind of were out there during Stammen's press conference, just kind of walking around a little bit on the field. And again, very excited to be here, very engaged with everything. Just kind of honestly looked like they were having like the time of their lives. But again, what does that mean when, actual things have to happen and boxes need to be checked and we need to figure out what's going on with the payroll or a lockout or, fan attendance if the team doesn't do well or whatever it is, there's, who knows, but they are coming in at a time when the team is having a ton of success. And I think they look at it like we're going to keep that success going and then maybe build on it as much as we can.
Annie Halpern from the UT with us right now on Schaefer and Sliwa. I was thinking during the press conference, like how large Peter Seidler's legacy looms over the organization. Like I think in Jose's initial comments, he referenced, Peter's success. I almost wonder, like, do they even buy this team if the Seidler era doesn't even exist? Is this team worth $4 billion without Peter Seidler? How do you look at, like, if this team eventually gets it done, whether it's in 2 months or 2 years or 20 years, like what role does Peter's legacy and tenure have in now Padres and like moving forward with the Padres?
I think it'll always be intertwined. It'll always be linked. And I think that goes, and I know he doesn't get mentioned near as much, but it goes for Ron Fowler too, because really Peter could have never done what he did without Ron doing what he did first. When they inherited the team when they bought the team, there was a ton of debt, and Ron is the one who had to be more judicious and get that debt down. And then Peter is the one who was able to go spend very freely after that happened, And so I think that you had to have both. Ron was big on Manny Machado being signed the first time and big on all those new contracts that happened. That was when Ron was chairman and Peter had stepped away for a little bit. So I think that for both of them, they're always going to be very intertwined, and Peter more so, obviously, because of what's happened since 2020. I think Peter's name is going to be the one mentioned quite a bit, and it's understandable why that's so. But because how can you not really, like, if the Padres win the World Series and if, things get even better for this team, I think you're always going to have to say that you built it on the backs of those who came before you, right? I mean, they're inheriting a team that is already having a ton of success. So it's kind of like you don't want to mess it up, right? And you want to try to keep it going, which is hard in baseball and any sport. You guys know it's hard to keep that going year after year. So it's not like it's a given that just because they're having success, it's going to keep going. So they definitely still do have a challenge ahead of them.
Annie, as we kind of focus on the field again, which is, kind of crazy. Padres are playing so well. And today was obviously a very important day in Padres history and San Diego history. And we'll see where it goes from here. What are you hoping for? I think Robbie Ray has been okay since he came to the Padres. And, obviously a week ago, last Tuesday, was the Tatis game where he robs Lindor of that grand slam and has 2 home runs. And Robbie Ray's line actually looked a lot better than it probably was. What would you like to see from Robbie Ray? And just how critical is it for him to also have a couple of good starts here, hopefully as we close down the month of August and get into September?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I have a Q&A with Robbie Ray coming out later this week. And okay, so with Robbie Ray, I think you have to go into every Robbie Ray start like it's a roller coaster ride, and buckle up because it's going to get uncomfortable at times. You're going to be having some big drops, but he usually is able to get out of it. And that's going to be the biggest thing about Robbie Ray is it's almost like, he doesn't mind so much the guys on base. He has really good numbers actually with runners in scoring position and guys on base. So it's like it's going to be a bumpy ride, but then he's going to be able to get you through to the end of it. And I think as long as that's happening, they'll live with the amount of walks and the amount of guys that get on base. Because if he can give you 5-6 innings and keep them in the game, at least maybe let's say 2-3 runs at most, they feel pretty confident about the fact that then they didn't have to blow their bullpen and they have an offense that can come back and can still win a game or at least be in the game. So Robbie Ray, I think, is never good, or maybe not never, but I think it's going to be a rare time that you're just going to like kick back and not watch him work in and out of trouble. And I think that's kind of what you're looking for with Robbie Ray, is just making sure he gets the out part, right? If he gets in trouble, he's got to be able to get out of it as well. And so far, I mean, we have seen flashes of that from him. I think in the last start, he went 6 innings and was able to keep them in the game. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be walking a tightrope when he's doing that.
Final one from me, Annie, would be like, are we now just going to put the Padres in true contender category? Have we reached that point? 21-7?
Yes, I do, because and part of that is the other teams around them. If the Diamondbacks can get back on track, and I think that they face the Cubs this week, or
that's right.
Maybe Chicago. Yeah, it's going to be tough, And I'm not saying that the Padres also still have some tough series remaining. So I think it's kind of foolish to be like, well, for sure the Padres are going to the playoffs, and for sure the Diamondbacks aren't. I don't think that at all. But it is now the Padres' job, the Padres' job to lose or whatever. Like they're in the seat right now. And so I think if Arizona has a bad week and all that stuff with Ketel Marte and just how, I think that's either going to, maybe they can rise above that, but you just lost a really good player as well, So if they have a bad week in Chicago or wherever they're playing, I'm not sure where they are, then I think it's going to be tough for them to overcome that. And then the Padres just sort of have to keep steady, and not let it slip away. But yeah, I mean, it's not a given to me that the Padres are going to the playoffs, but I do think that they are a heck of a lot closer, and it's looking like it's more probable than it ever has all season.
Yeah. And you're right. Arizona hosting, I think, the Cubbies. So for these next handful of games.
So maybe not being in Chicago might have a little help then to Arizona, but still probably going to be a tough series.
Final one for me as well. We appreciate your time as always. What have you made of this stretch, this last couple of weeks, or this last couple of months, really? Does it feel like the Fernando Tatis Jr. that used to, be one of the faces of all of baseball, and certainly over this last handful of stretch? I know, John, you 70-plus games, but NL Player of the Week this week as well. Does it feel like that Tatis that used to kind of run San Diego for a portion of time, does it feel like that version of him is back?
Yes, it really does. And I love seeing Fernando like this. I mean, I do still agree, and I said this earlier this season, that he wasn't pouting earlier in the season. He was still, a team player, and he was showing up smiling, and he was getting what he had. But there's a different level, and we can all agree on that. There is a different level that he's had the last few weeks in terms of just how happy he's been. He is happy playing baseball right now. And the thing, I was talking to someone who's very close with Fernando the other day, just kind of in his inner circle. And that person was talking about how Fernando is just someone who just loves to play baseball like he's 10 years old. That's really at the heart of it, what he wants to do. He wants to go out there and be like it was in the Dominican when he was a kid playing ball. And that's kind of what he's felt the last few weeks. It's like the team is winning. He's rolling. He feels like he's helping them not just with power, but also the base running, the defense, being able to get on base with other things other than home runs. I think it's all clicking for him, and it's made him a better player. And I think that he's just enjoying the fruits of that, because the struggle was so real for him. Like, he acknowledges the struggle. The struggle sucked, And so I think he's really enjoying that. And as far as the team as a whole, I want to get into this with you guys another time. I'm sure you're up against it. But, like, deep thoughts, like, a lot of times they'll be like, this is who we are. And it's like, yeah, but you also were someone very different for the first, 2, 3, 4 months of the season. So they've got to keep it going till the end, right, in order to really believe it and buy into it. And they've got to honestly even keep it going into the playoffs, in my opinion, because you can't just erase the first 3 months of the season or those struggles, but you can definitely write a different ending. And I will, I think that's their, in their hands now to be able to write that different ending and not resort back to maybe that team that really was having trouble in those May and June months.
I love how you said that as a journalist, and it is an unwritten book. I mean, the final chapter is going to be written, in this. Yeah, by the way, with this new ownership group, they're either going to benefit from it or not. I mean, who knows what happens here over the next 45 to 60 or so days. Annie, great seeing you earlier. We appreciate you taking time for us here on 760. Let's do it again soon.
Thanks, Annie.
Anytime, guys. Hopefully this sounded okay because I'm out on the concourse.
Sounds great.
Hopefully we're good.
It sounds
great. Thanks for having me, guys.
Appreciate it, Annie. It's that new internet connectivity they installed, the new ownership group today.
Already?
That's what he said. Listen, his first order of business. Wow. We're making that concourse audio pristine. And apparently they've accomplished that.
And the pretzels and cheese? Huge upgrade.
Huge upgrade already. They did mention that the paperwork was signed Friday.
Yeah, they did. Friday afternoon.
Swept the Twins.
Oh, he said he's undefeated.
He's like,
that's another zinger.
No, he said it about Kwanza. She's undefeated.
Oh,
since she's taken over. Great stuff. All right, we'll put a bow on the show. Get you ready for Padres and Pirates game 1 of a 3-game series. Coming up tonight at 6:40. This is Schaefer and Sliwa on San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app. Final time here, Schaefer and Sliwa. It's Skeens tomorrow, probable?
Yeah, that's most likely he goes tomorrow.
Do you know the last time he pitched in San Diego?
I don't think he's pitched in San Diego.
It was with Air Force at San Diego State. I mean, just in general, he pitched with Air Force at San Diego State in May of 2022. So that's his last outing, I think, in San Diego, May of 22 with the Air Force Academy.
He's struggling a little bit too.
his numbers have completely come back to earth.
Mhm.
He's got a 4, I think, for the year, 3.95.
I think his like last 3-4
he's been much
starts,
worse.
he's been struggling.
And they are in a tailspin. And we'll see what happens this week. But this is a prime opportunity to win a series.
Yeah, that's it. Just win a series.
Yep.
Nobody's asking for anything crazy. Just win a series. Now, do you want to see? Would you rather? Because I think we played this game before.
Yeah, give it
Would
to
you rather see the Cubs
Give it
beat
to him.
Arizona to get more space, or keep watching the Cubs lose? Like, would you want to see Arizona sweep? Let's say the Padres took 2 or 3. Arizona swept, and you can gain 2 more games on the Cubs.
But then you'd only be a game up on Arizona.
Only a game up on Arizona.
That's a tough question.
Because last week you were talking about how you
No, earlier
felt like
today.
no,
Yeah.
but last week we were doing this with the Phillies as well.
Mhm.
I think it was like Phillies and St. Louis, the Cardinals,
What
right?
did I say?
You wanted to in that circumstance, I think you wanted the Cardinals further behind.
I did. And I'm going to say the same thing here.
Yeah.
I think because it's just 2 games of separation, if you told me right now the Padres gained 1+ games on Arizona over the next 3 days, I'm cool with that. Like
Yeah.
that would be my initial goal, gain 1+ games on Arizona.
So you don't want 2 games back of Chicago,
I
2
would-
games back. By
but
the way, the
only one
tiebreakers are
up.
killers.
Yeah,
The
you only
tiebreakers are killers.
one
That's 3
up.
games.
No,
No,
I
I'm
wanna,
with you.
I want
I'm
to
with
be.
you.
I want to get into the postseason with games to play.
Yes.
That's my first focus.
Mhm.
From there, I want to get the highest seed possible. So it's an interesting question, though.
All of a sudden, Philly. Oh my God,
It's won 9
they've
straight.
9?
Which, by the way, they've done twice this year. Remember, they fired their manager.
Yeah.
And then they won 9 straight.
Yeah.
And now they've won 9 in a row
Yeah,
post
but
deadline.
it's funny because we've always said this about the Phillies. Kind of like, yeah, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
They're going to start winning games, and they are. So,
Yeah, I mean,
but they've had
even-
some crazy comeback wins.
What
too.
are they? 2 games? Are they 2 games up on San Diego? You said
2 games up? We're not talking any wild card or we're not talking tiebreakers or
2
anything,
games.
right?
Up. The funny thing
2
is,
games up.
I mean, if you're a Phillies fan, you're feeling good that they're going to go to the postseason. Even that's not a certainty. I mean, they're 4 games up on Arizona, even with a 9-game winning streak. I think the teams that are going to make the postseason are in playoff position right now. Those are the teams that, in my opinion, are going to make the postseason. Otherwise, it would be surprising to me.
I'm with you.
If any of those teams fell off, Philadelphia, San Diego, Chicago.
What's crazy is, by the way, Philly and Atlanta, Philly 3 games back behind Atlanta. Atlanta's 3-7 in their last 10. So kind of this song and dance around Major League Baseball. I think they're, as great as the Padres have played, when you do look at the NL, they're probably the 6th best team as well. I could make an argument. I think they could beat Atlanta in a 3-game set.
Mm-hmm.
I think Milwaukee's beatable too. Now they're
just swept
30-something
them.
games. I know,
Yeah.
30-something games over 500. So,
I mean, anyone in a 3-game series, there's a little bit of that. Flip a coin.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, things can happen.
Anything can happen.
And here's the hard part about seeding, by the way. Of course, the ideal seed is you host something. So the ideal seed, and that's going to take a lot of work, is you host something. But the hard part about seeding is you play for a higher seed. It doesn't mean you have a better opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're the 5 seed, are you really playing a quote unquote easier opponent than the 6 seed? No, is the answer. There's no guarantee the 5 seed is a better shot than the 6. You just want to win games and see where you land.
I don't know what the hell happened here. They did MLB did their power rankings today, part of like Fox Sports MLB.
Yeah.
Padres 6th.
All the way up to 6.
A little high. A little high.
I guess it speaks out
Above
of
the
plan.
Yankees, above the Phillies, above the Red Sox. A little high.
That's what 21-7 will do for
That's
you.
what 21-7 will do for you.
And that's what they've done over their last 28 games. All right, so
It should be a fun game tonight.
Jose Feliciano, Kwanza Jones,
They're in.
welcome to the show.
Yes.
Officially owners of the San Diego Padres. We're going to do this again tomorrow at
Do it
3
again
p.m.
Come on, Robbie Ray.
Reacting to game 1, Robbie Ray, getting ready for Paul Skeens in game 2. Try to get someone from the Pirates broadcast team to join us tomorrow on Schaefer and Sliwa. All right. If you missed anything, sportssd.com or the iHeartRadio app. Back tomorrow at 3 p.m.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
For Brent and Alan, I'm John. Keep it here. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We've been live on the iHeartRadio app. Peace.